Don, you want to say a prayer?
Sure.
Official meeting, but we'll start it out right anyway.
Yep. Heavenly Father, we bow before you, Lord, tonight to thank you for your blessings. God, we just thank you for everything that you've done for us and given us. And we just pray as we go into this meeting tonight, Lord, that you would just be with us and guide us and direct us in a way that would be pleasing to you and that would help Hackleburg, Lord. Help us to always do what you'd have us to do. Forgive us, Lord, now as we go into the meeting and just help us along the way. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Don.
We're gonna play the difference now?
Yeah, let's do the pledge of allegiance. Sure. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. This is a work session. We called it to discuss, I'm sure y'all all heard, I've tried to touch base with most everybody, but Wally Kemp is either going to sell the grocery store or close it. So, we've got potential buyers that are interested in buying it, but we're gonna have to be a little bit creative and trying to help them get the store. So we need to lay out what we're looking at tonight and get everybody's opinion on it. And if we can come to the conclusion to help them, we need to move it along. This is not about helping Wally. Wally could shut it down and leave, it'd be okay. But it would be detrimental to the town to let this store close.
You got the contract he signed?
We've got it, but according to the state of Alabama.
I don't look at the contract
Yeah,
before I make any
I mean,
decision.
that's fine.
Can you go Xerox it, get a solid copy of it?
I mean,
And how did we get a potential buyer? And I didn't even know where it was for sale the last week.
There's two parts of it, I mean, just do one of them.
one of them's an original, one of them's an amended.
Yeah,
Man,
amended.
would you bring me back some art or something that I'm writing?
Yeah,
Okay.
here's your magazine.
That'll work.
Or you come right here and see it,
All right.
come on over here.
Yeah, they say
Yeah, sit right here.
For Greg, if
I'll
Jerry
vote for
said
Darren.
that-
I don't want to show up.
And, you know, on that contract, I don't know if anybody, is aware, is it not, was it 2028 at that point? If Wally had stayed here, he could have, the lease would have been up and he would be able to buy that for $10
Right.
at that point.
Correct.
right, that's part of the contract.
Well, it is, but
And then we got that grant, and that grant was awarded with the stipulation that he was gonna honor that contract.
if you hang on a minute, Eugene, I'll tell you. In talking to the state, he has fulfilled his obligation to the grant.
Is that in the contract?
It's from the state.
I don't think that's in there.
It's
If
not.
it
I'm
is,
sure
I
it's
don't
not,
remember.
It's
because
not.
they wrote the contract to, you know,
And has the state signed anything, whoever's over the grant program state that?
I've talked to Shabir, he is.
I want it right.
Well, I understand all this and we'll do that, but I'm just telling you what. the
And I
facts
mean, I understand your urgency, but I'm like this. The difference between now and when that was built, we got something to offer somebody. We didn't have nothing then. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I understand there might be a few people out of a job for a while, but
are. No, there'll be
I don't-
30 people out of a
I
job.
don't know about jumping on the first thing, you know.
Let's
something
read the
up there.
contract, there, hold on.
It's not the
The
first thing that
contract,
come
let
along.
me, I've done some research, but I need to validate this. I talked to some individuals that was here when they developed that contract. It was a 10-year contract with stipulation that 30 employees would be employed for that 10-year period.
Not for a 10-year period, no.
For how long?
He just had to get to
Should've
30.
been-
Well, it's supposed to be in the contract, because they're falling under
Yeah,
what
this-
Wrangler is
Right.
falling under.
I'm telling
Wrangler
you.
was fixing to close the business too. They had to turn around and do X, Y, and Z. because they were losing money also. So we cannot go against a contract
I
unless.
understand that, we won't, I mean, we will go over the contract with a fine tooth comb, no,
Mm-hmm.
there's no issue.
But I want it point blank, because
Had it tonight.
until we read a contract and say all this, we don't need to be out here running our mouths saying that people says we're not for something. Because I know for a fact that's been going on when we've not discussed this as an open forum until tonight.
We need
We
to know,
didn't, I didn't know what the word up the last week.
we need to know, I don't see any of you until we meet.
Right?
Or we have a work session. So the only thing I can do is try to contact you, call you, you know, text, whatever. But I agree with the contract. We have to make sure everything's covered, and we will. But I know for a fact, I've talked to Shabir myself, and Wally has met all the criteria, so he's no longer, they've turned it back over to the town.
The town.
The town.
So
pertaining
what
to
Wally
what?
wants, they just want out, walk out, I'm
Well,
done
he
with
ain't
my part,
wanting, he ain't wanting to walk out, he's wanting to
So
sell
that's fine.
his,
and make a profit.
he's what, he's gonna lose the money. He owes
Well, I mean, I know what
$800,000.
he's invested, he ain't gonna recruit that back, but let's just say right now, if he's looking at, he's thinking, well, I'm into this for 600,000, I want 1.2 million. You know what I'm saying on that?
Yeah,
And then he gets his 30,000, he lost for 5 years, that's 150,000, so actually, yeah, he makes money.
yeah,
At that.
I mean, I understand, but that ain't what he's doing. He owes $800,000, and he accepted a $650,000 offer. So he's losing 150 right off the bat.
And I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm in no way calling you a liar or anything like that, but I would like to see this on paper.
Well, it's
You
a
know what I'm
fact, I mean, we'll put it on paper, but I mean, it's a
And I'd
fact.
like to see the financial statements of the monthly income and outgoing.
But
from
let's go
the-
back just a minute. Wally's a businessman. He has the right to close them doors tonight if he chooses to.
And we'll get
Okay,
somebody
we're
in.
under the contract of that building, is it? For as the inner contents of that facility belongs to Wally.
Right.
It really doesn't have anything to do with this town except for that building. We signed an
And the
amendment
property.
to original contract. We were leasing him that building for $1,000.
Right.
He come to us last year and asked that we reduce that because he was in financial need to
Right.
not pay that. We amended that contract and agreed to that to help him out. Now he's come back a year later saying he can't, and I understand that the times are tough. But we are obligated to the building only, not the contents.
It's not that times are tough, Kathy, he's been within 40,000 each year.
But that's a business. We are under obligation for the building.
I'm not saying it ain't.
Not the
I'm saying
contents.
he'll shut the door and walk away.
I understand
mean,
that could happen.
It will happen.
I can't do anything about that if he chooses. He is the
Yeah,
owner of the
you
contract.
can do
What
something
can I do,
about
Darryl?
that.
What
When
can I
we
do?
get all this contract cleared up, we can say, yes, we want to find a creative way to finance this, to bring in.
You talking about the town of Hackleburg
funding.
financing?
Well,
Is that what you're proposing?
partly,
Say market,
yes.
let somebody come in. Cause if you gonna give them a
I wanna
deed
hear
of
the
the building and
proposal.
property,
Thank you.
yeah. But do we, like she said, if we got a deed
Thank
to
you,
the
ma'am.
building and the 7 acres of land,
Yep.
all he's
I
gonna take
don't-
like the coolers and stuff, so you're talking about financing, I mean, if you gonna get somebody in here, that if you got somebody that was gonna commit to it, did you not do them the same way that he was done?
Well, they're gonna be handcuffed the same way Wally's handcuffed.
Well,
On
I
your-
mean, if you ain't got something to keep them here, somebody comes in and lose money for 3 months, they're gonna turn around and wanna flip it.
Okay, let's compare this. Hold on, let's compare this. It's simple. The business straight across the street right over here from us. It went through 3 different owners. It was a 5-year grant money for $50,000. 3 different times this, we don't care if it's 1 million or whatever. That business changed ownership. They were under a contract to maintain that business for 5 years.
It's total different.
No, it ain't.
Setup. Yes, it
It's
is.
still a grant. It was still given to under speculation. stipulations,
Mayor,
every bit.
can I say something? I'm about to smother to death. I gotta talk.
Go ahead.
We've got to have somebody, and I think the people in the back would agree with this, we've got to have somebody to take that over that can buy in bulk to reduce the prices to get local people to shop here.
That's right.
The prices that we had over there, that's why they were going out of town to buy. Am I not right, Dennis? So we need somebody that buys in bulk, and these people's got 4 stores.
Well, why did we invest in somebody that didn't know in the first place?
Yeah,
And like
that's
you're,
only one.
and
You're right.
and like you're saying,
No, he's not right.
Yeah,
No,
we
it's
should,
not.
we should have
No.
looked at somebody else.
Don,
They looked
Don,
forever.
we talked to everybody that was involved in anything to do with groceries.
but the
Did
only
we not
body y'all
talk to
offered that money
everybody?
to was Wally, wasn't it?
No, sir.
It was offered to anybody that would do it. He
He
was the very last one that we went to.
Okay, we cannot control the prices out there, that is set by an
Well,
individual
I just want to make something
owner.
clear.
I understand that, that's set
Hold
by
on,
an
hold on,
individual
hold on,
owner.
hold on. I went and done a comparison of about 20 items to what was in here and what was at the Piggly Wiggly. This is
Especially
either
with the pig.
as cheap or cheaper besides what sale they run. And the reason they can run a better sale, they can buy in bulk.
I understand business, I understand every bit of that. That business is owned by an individual. The Piggly Wigglers are
Exactly.
owned by individuals.
Right.
The town of Hackleburg, under this grant, owns the building.
The building and the
They do
property.
not own the contents of that building,
That's right.
which includes the shelving, the freezers, the walk-in freezers. Any of the merchandise in there is owned by this,
Any
I'm not gonna
content.
mention name, the individual corporation of that individual.
Well, we can't.
So, at that situation, if he wants to shut the doors under any kind of other business stipulation, that individual would go find somebody trying to buy them out, not the town of Hackleburg buy them out. Does that make sense?
In a perfect world, it does.
Darryl, there's no perfect world anywhere.
So this is an amendment, I won't say the original
This-
agreement
yeah.
between him and before we was ever elected.
I'm telling you, nobody's lining up
The
to buy
deed, the
a grocery
stipulations
store.
of the deed and the original contract, this is
Can I say
something,
This is not the,
that ain't got nothing to do with the contract.
I have watched Darryl work tirelessly these last couple of months, trying to find a solution and somebody that would be interested in that place. To take over, to run a grocery store. We need something in this town, whether y'all shop here or not, I do, and all of these other folks out here, a lot of people do. And we owe it to the people to find a way to make this happen.
We owe it to the people to be good stewards, I don't care a grand where it comes from, it's taxpayers' money, that's why we was elected to be good stewards of that money. And this
And
right
they
here
want a
has
grocery
nothing to do with the original contract.
What
I want to
Manny,
see the
can you give
original
us a copy of the
contract.
original
the
contract?
the
This
deed.
is not it. This is
And
gonna
when we
be,
talked the other day, you knew I was gonna be expecting to look at it,
This
I don't
is
know why we
the-
don't have it.
this is not
We've
it.
got it.
We've
This
been
is
going
it.
off of hearsay ever since I've been elected, and I'm done with that.
This is the.
I'm not doing it.
Eugene, if you went out here and say, how many times have you been in the
And
building?
what I wanna know is like the other day, when you talked to me, well, you know, he's gone regardless, I got somebody interested, but don't say nothing, well, I ain't even got out of the house the next day, and I'm done. Every time I turn, somebody's asking me if it's for sale, they done been up there looking. Well, I was with the last to know, and how did they even find out, if they're not from around here, they was even in it, so.
They go in the store, they probably hear it.
Darryl,
Now, I'm talking about the ones that want to buy it.
Cause he
Can I
Can I
went
help you,
with them.
sir?
Huh?
I'm just looking, how can I get in touch with anybody else? I hate to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Because the people came and met with him.
let's get,
Well, did
Darryl,
Wally, how
beside
did
the
Wally know
point
he's gonna be able to
of,
get out from under his contract? Well,
Because the state had already told him, he fulfilled his contract.
no, he didn't, he had a 15-year
He
contract.
fulfilled his obligations to the state.
No, he didn't. ain't
He
fulfilled
did,
nothing, no.
Eugene, whether you believe it or won't believe it, he
Did
did.
he not sign a 15-year lease saying
That was in order to receive the deed to the
to
building,
get the property?
yes.
So,
Only.
this is what I hear. What do we want to see the end result of?
The store continue to be open.
So what should be the end result of anything we do between now and whatever happens? What are we looking at?
I
What's
think
our
it needs to be marketed, and
expectation?
whoever gets the best
It's been marketed.
When?
He's been
Would it be to
trying to
have
find
a
people.
store?
Wally has talked to other people in the grocery business now, we're going on probably a couple of
But
months.
the thing about it is, you know, like he said, people that's interested, why do you wanna just jump on that way, because three of them got a store,
Let's,
another one.
can we
one
please
wants
hear
to
what the
plant.
proposal from these other individuals is? You keep saying that
He-
he has talked to these other people.
The
What is
proposal,
what's these other individuals offered? Two,
which you talking about the ones that are.
because we can offer him a lease-free building. We can offer that now.
But they can't do that.
Explain to me why.
Because when you purchase freezers, shelving, content, the bank will only finance it for 7 years. Period. They won't go any longer. So in order to purchase it and get a payment down to where it'll cash flow, you're gonna be looking at 15 to 20 years. Without the deed, they can't go that far. So we're either gonna have to help them by us buying him out and then lease purchasing to the buyer and letting him pay it off that way.
Okay, you just said that you can't get a loan no more than 7 years.
We can because we own the building. We can
Okay,
use the building
so
for
what you're
collateral.
saying is we wanna go in here and buy Wally out on content for 700, 800, whatever he owes,
650, he owes
that for the town of Hackleburg
For
to
the
take a
town.
risk that if this other people don't come in here, how much, have you looked at what the interest rate on that is and how much money?
4%.
4%.
Yeah.
How much is the payment on that?
40 something $100
And they'll be.
That's a month,
a
okay?
month.
And we
Well,
say that we
Wally's
can't
paying
even hire
11,000.
another police officer,
Who said that?
we can't even hire town workers,
Who said
but
that?
we can go ahead and pay a $4,000 a
We're
month
not gonna be
payment.
paying
We're
it.
not-
They're gonna be
Who's gonna
paying
pay
it.
it?
The people that are purchasing.
You don't
it.
know that because we're in the same situation right now. What's gonna prevent what,
That's
the
what
next
the deal
people
was
from
trying to
coming
be
in
made.
here and shutting it down there?
Because
If
they
the
own
town of
5
Hackleburg
stores.
borrows,
That's what they do for a living.
then they should be able to get cash flow and borrow against that.
They can't borrow it without a deed.
Well, we
They
can
can't
sign
go
the
get
deed
that.
over to them under their agreement.
So
You can
we're-
do that.
So in other words, you wanna give them the deed up front.
That's what you do under the exceptions of certain rules.
Okay, we'll give the building, we'll give,
That's
I'm
all you gotta
okay,
do.
we'll give them the deed up front.
Yeah. I
Wait
mean,
a
that's a
minute.
proposal.
So we're
It's
giving
my
away
time.
$2.8 million
It's
in
my time.
assets. up
Can we
front.
not borrow that $650,000 for 20 years, us,
Yes, we can
and
say
pay,
yes.
and set the payments down, and lease that building to him for
Yes.
99 years for $1 a year?
No.
We'll have to do it for 20
You'll never
years,
recoup the
and
money
then
back.
we'll have to turn the deed over to him.
Why? We just borrowed the money ourselves for
Because
the
he,
time.
I mean, they're not gonna pay for something they're never gonna own. I mean, they're not gonna pay
He
for all
practically
that.
owns it if you give him a 99-year lease for $1 a year.
Well, Wally was gonna own it in 2028 if
He was gonna own it in 15 years.
It was gonna be his.
We were gonna never keep
That's
the
true.
He's
building.
the one that got the grant. Now it's our building.
But what good is an empty building though?
It ain't no good, but I'm saying, what's wrong with my idea?
Well,
Why-
there-
I want something, if he closes that down, where that building will come back to the town instead of them selling it and hitting the road.
That could
I,
happen.
I understand anything,
That could happen.
nothing's ever,
They can be put in a.
And why does go with these one people? I mean, if you've got something to offer, some goers or somebody might be willing to come in, they've been in business for 50 years. I don't know. I don't know if it's been offered to them. I mean, yeah, some people might be out of job for a minute, there ain't no doubt we can put something back in that building.
what
Somebody knows
what
we
what
got.
are you gonna put in there?
Have y'all
Eugene?
went and looked
What
to
about the
see?
grocery store? There's grocery stores everywhere. You got
Yeah,
a
they've talked
cost
about
plus
it.
10% at Hamilton, you got all kind of stores. You got goers over there, and I know Tom Williams, he's out, but so what?
The goers have been talked to, Tom Williams.
What,
Hal Keaton,
who has
Brooks Davis.
convinced you to go with the people you've been talking to? And say like you knew
Because
it's
they
having
own
a work
5
session.
stores
huh?
in rural Alabama. They know how to run this store.
But have you went back and researched their records, looked at their past?
We can, we're here to discuss that. We can, they're an open
But
book.
that's what I'm saying.
They've not produced a business plan at all.
Why?
They are an open book.
Nobody
We
has
are-
produced a business
Tonight
plan
is
at all.
the first night we've discussed this as a group. They are an open book.
Who contacted them, you or Wally, that
Well,
even knew this?
I don't know how him and Wally got together.
He told me he put out some fillers,
Right.
4 or 5 different companies. And this guy is the only one that contacted them.
So Wally done knew that he could get out prior to doing
He
that.
ain't
could
got
get
no
out
idea
with
if he can
15-year
get out.
lease agreement.
He don't know, just cause he put out a filler, just like you putting your truck out here for sale, you don't know if anybody can buy it. You know,
You know, what
these
I'm
guys,
saying is,
Tom Williams sold one of them to Berry. They bought the Berry store. They turned it from a $52,000 a week store to $75,000.
They know how to operate.
Tom Williams had it for 10 years, never did over 55.
yeah, I kinda mean,
I've only met him one time.
I goes back to getting somebody in there, and it ain't no secret, if they could get the prices down, yeah.
Well, now you gotta have.
You
an
could
owner.
get people in there.
You gotta have an owner that knows the business.
Yeah, I know that.
Wally don't know the business. He won't let
They
us.
invested
Wally-
3.5
Wally
million
is
in
72.
last administration.
Wally bought the building, stepped up when nobody else wanted anything to do with it. And you can ask anybody on the last mayor and council,
Yeah, I know y'all
everybody
do a
that
lot
was,
of work.
everybody was contacted. Nobody would touch it.
But it was my understanding that wasn't nobody offered no money until y'all got him on the road.
It wasn't anybody
That
ever
was,
offered
we
any
was
money.
just offering the slab over here with nothing on it.
No, they were offered the same thing Wally was offered. The
I
offer
just want to say this right here,
never
something we
changed.
amended right here, ain't it? That was on the lease paper. And talking about that, the money that he put in there and this $1 a month, are they account with that in it, or,
Yes.
and what's gonna happen to that money?
Let's talk about risk. Talk about risk more. You said that Wally wants out of the business, bottom line.
He's getting out of it.
Okay.
He don't want out of it.
Whatever,
He's getting
whatever.
out.
Even if
But
he
we need to
shuts,
make that clear.
even if he
He
shuts-
is getting out.
I understand, even if he shuts the door, he's still gonna lose six, cause that equipment will sit in there.
Exactly.
Or he'll auction, it doesn't matter, he's
He'll
still gonna
auction
lose,
it off.
unless somebody buys it, okay? So your proposal a minute ago was the town of Hackleburg borrow the money for whatever years, okay?
Yes.
That's a risk that you're
Yes.
gonna borrow. Taxpayers' money, $700,000, we'll round it off $700,000.
Why would you round up, 650, I would round it up.
650, I'm just using that speculation. 650 at 4% interest, which you said the payment was gonna be $4,000 a month.
That's just a simple amortization, I don't know the
Right,
exact
but
number.
that's about right, that's about right, for
That's
7
for
years.
7 years, though.
That's for 7
No.
years.
What?
How many years was that loan?
20.
20 years, okay? And what that consists of is coolers, stock shelving, that's not counting merchandise.
Everything in the store.
Well, that merchandise will be gone in 2 years.
He's gonna, if
I'm talking about if you
he,
sold it, if you sold
if
it.
he knows right, they'll keep replenishing.
But if you sold it, okay, then we're gonna have to ask them for a payment of $3,000 to $4,000.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
they're fine with that.
So the risk is if this other company comes in here and decides they don't wanna stay in business anymore, the town of Hackleburg is still liable for 20 years for that payment.
I agree.
That is a
Patty.
high risk.
Every town around here, it's essentially the same as floating a bond. And every
I
town
understand all
around
that
here
there,
does
I
that.
understand it. Are we, what the question is on the table, are you willing to take that large of a risk for that amount of money for a business that could go under with another company? That's a lot of taxpayers'
Over
money.
losing it
I think
and knowing
we
it's
can-
gone, I'm absolutely.
I don't
I don't wanna
for
see the
it.
business go, I wanna see it
It's
come to
gone
stay
if
here.
we don't.
I understand that, but we don't have to borrow the money.
Who's
I
gonna
don't
borrow?
see
it?
well,
We're
anybody
gonna
want
do
in the
it.
That's
business
a high
to take the
risk.
collateral in the building and get the money. I mean, that's
You're under.
free and clear.
I know I'm the attorney and I don't have a vote in this, but I got
Yeah,
a
you do.
question
We
because
need
I need to know this
Yeah.
for my figures. How much money does the town of Hackleburg, and you may not have the exact numbers, but give me a rough estimate, get off of that store in tax revenue?
Last year, we received 63,000, give you the exact number, $63,880. So you figure that over a 20-year period, you're talking about $1.3 million in that one store that we're gonna make over that amount of time.
Let's go back. Go back 2014 and tell me what the tax revenue was for the Dollar General. I asked you this question. I told you I was gonna ask this question. What was, in 2014, the market was not built yet. What was the tax revenue for that year?
It was nowhere near that.
I understand that.
Let me go see if I got that.
Now, there's a pie chart of that on there.
Yeah, I don't know if 14 is on it or not.
That's $63,000 tax revenue for
Yeah.
2000 and what? What year?
That was last tax year.
What year?
2007.
Last year,
2017.
18.
18, okay.
Dennis, what does it take, what have you got to have coming in if they was
Yeah.
making a $4,000 payment a month? What would they have to be coming in, what would he have to be bringing in to make that payment and just pay his employees?
The market, if it's split.
Do you know?
then you
I have no
calculate
idea because I've never seen
You know,
I don't see the power bill, I don't see the gas bill or internet.
So he kept
bill.
all of that, I didn't know that you was a manager or whatever, what he might have,
I don't ever see those.
That's what I was
wondering,
wondering.
you know.
She said he had 30 employees.
We've not
which I didn't know
seen,
full
we've
time.
not seen any of those figures, and neither has he. All you're hearing is that he's gonna shut the doors.
And I don't know if I'll get 14, I'll get once you get him.
At the Ridge.
He's got 8 businesses, he told me by the end of the year.
I told him the other day.
Mhm.
That was on the thing.
Yep.
Legally, Tammy, I can't tell you what people make in tax.
You can tell us, we're the finance
No, I can't.
department.
We are too.
We're over the finance.
Yes, we are.
You can tell us. Though, I mean, you can't
I
tell
don't
the
think I
public,
can.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
we're
read
a
it,
part of the
Robert Rules
finances
Law,
for
yeah.
this department. Yes,
We're
you
the
can.
finance committee.
When an open
The
meeting, I
council.
don't think I can.
We need to go.
You can show it to us, or
We can go
pass
with
it
it.
If
around.
I have 14, I'm looking.
No, I mean, you couldn't put it out here for public, but yeah, the council is a finance committee. And if you'll remember, it's how Bear Creek got busted over there. They wouldn't want to show that stuff to somebody and
That's
Just
public
put it on.
But I'm
information.
telling you though,
Yes.
there's some strict
When
laws on
somebody
this.
else buys it, the tax revenue's gonna increase a bunch.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Just by their operation.
Because if
compared
you do a
to-
comparison of what you went right after the tornado, you look at what
Show
the
that
Dollar
to
General was
14.
bringing in, let's say that the Dollar General was bringing in, because it was one business. And everybody was having to go there, so this is all speculation. If they were bringing in $100,000 in tax revenue, and then in 2015, you really gotta go to the next year to see, because they was only open a half a year, to
Right.
see what the tax revenue, because it was a new business. And if that value split, and your overall between the two businesses, say $140,000, then yeah, you're gonna lose 30 to 40. That's what you gotta look at. How much true revenue? We're not losing the full 63. We're losing a percentage of that.
No, we're losing.
No, we're not, Darryl.
63.
We're losing a percentage
How do
as
you
you go back.
figure we're not? It's
Because
real
that,
money.
that money will still go to the Dollar General.
Do you think all that money
Part
should
of
go to
it.
the
No,
Dollar
I
General?
don't. Part of it will
I'd
go
say
there.
probably 30,000.
So we can
Part of
lose,
it.
so we can lose 30,000?
No, I
every
did not
time?
say we could lose. You're not
Is
gonna
that-
put words in my
Is
mouth.
that just sales
I
tax?
said
or
you do a
Does that
comparison.
include the
This
1
is,
cent?
this is, no.
Sales
we're gonna
tax
get
only?
1 cent.
That's what's going in our budget.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah. And then you've gotta look at over all the other businesses too to see, compare to sales taxes.
Might be
Yeah,
something,
town.
that would be something else I wanna look at, how
Right.
stable this contour, you know.
What about the 30 jobs you're
Right.
gonna lose?
I can't control that, Darryl.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
You were elected to control that, Tabby.
I cannot control
Yes, you
if he
can.
shuts
You
the
can
door.
make a decision right here
I can
tonight.
make a decision,
Do we
but
help
we
these
ain't made one
people?
and you ain't gave me a proposal.
No, but you can't
You
help
have
them.
not
Don't
gave me
say-
a proposal yet.
But you
Put them
can
on the
help
table
them.
and tell us what
But
they
you
are.
can help them. Don't say
Tell
you
me what
can't.
it is, Darryl.
I'm just
Well,
saying you
listen.
can help them.
I ain't seen the contract. I don't know what to
I didn't
propose
say
when
nothing
we
about
can't
that.
even get a copy of the freaking
I'm
contract.
just saying you can.
Give me a copy of the contract, Darryl.
On the
Did she not
original
give
date.
y'all a copy of it?
No,
This is an
we still
amendment.
ain't got it.
This
Well,
is what
she's
was
getting-
amended though,
she's
from
getting-
$100,000 to $1. I think that had to do with the grant, the original deed, the terms, it was,
She's
in
getting
there.
it. There's nothing in it tied, so she's getting it. You'll have it.
Right. That should have been here right when we got in here to be able to read.
I thought she had it, but anyway, she's getting it. She'll have it to you.
I mean, if you wanna come in here and do a proposal, if you do a true proposal, you have business plans laid out, X, Y, and Z. Present it to the council, we look over them, and we say, yeah, this right here is best for the taxpayer. And that way, we're not sitting here arguing for 3 freaking hours, is what should have happened.
I'm not arguing. I'm just
I
trying
mean,
to
I'm
state
willing to
facts.
listen to anything, don't sit on paper, I don't know hypotheticals or whatever. But you know, still, I mean, understand, and the Piggly Wiggly name, I would draw a lot of people back in there. But you know, what is their track record? How long have they been in the grocery business? How long have they
They've
owned
been in
them
it
3
since
stores?
1993. They own 5 stores.
And that's why I can't figure out if they're that big, why they can't get the money to go the length if they've got a deed to the building. That's what I can't.
They're gonna be in the same predicament Wally's in if they go 7 years.
But they all four couldn't sign together, and the banks, with their background, if they're making money, see what I'm saying? And the bank wouldn't be willing, if they had a property, deed to the property.
Why do you wanna handcuff a new company coming in that is gonna
I
be
don't
struggling
wanna-
from
I don't
day
handcuff
one?
nobody, but I
You're
don't
going
wanna-
to though,
I don't wanna handcuff myself, and I sure don't wanna hand somebody the next
but you're going to.
administration something they
If
gonna have
they,
to deal
if
with.
they have the same deal Wally has, they're not gonna be in any better position to make it than he is.
What were you talking about a minute, Cash?
I mean, I can't
Profit
understand
or-
why they wouldn't take a 99
When you say
year
cash
lease.
flow, what were you talking about?
You know,
Profit or?
us borrow the money and pay
Keep
for
saying
it.
Well, if you
ain't no
cash
cash
flow,
He keeps saying they
you
won't
gotta
do
put
it.
money in it out of your pocket.
You're taking a
You're not
risk.
making
with
enough
that
for
right
cash.
there.
I know you're taking a
Exactly.
risk, but
Well,
that's
Because
what
we're
they're
different.
You're not making any
doing.
profit.
Yeah, but not necessarily because a freezer's not gonna last 20 years. You still are the owner and proprietor.
They're gonna be
of it.
liable. for
I know,
all
I'm
that.
So
gonna
we
get
got
somebody
you.
out there,
So you
I
got a
know
lot of
that.
maintenance.
I know,
But-
but
That's
listen,
fine.
like, that would be our best bet.
I'm
if-
just doing
if they would
amortization
go
table
along
and
with
see
it.
what that pays.
They're gonna be liable for all of the maintenance, building content.
I understand all that, Darryl, but my concern is the risk that the town of Hackleburg is taking, that if they make a decision to say, pull the plug, we're reliable for that money. Right now, we're not reliable for it. We are not. So if they come in here a year and say, we ain't making the revenue that we think we should, we said we could, and I'm not gonna do it, they could pull the plug, be gone, we still gotta make that payment.
With what it
That's
makes,
my
with
concern.
what it makes right now, if they can go 30 years
So
on
give up.
cash flow, if they don't raise it another dime,
That's
It'll cash
speculation
flow.
on cash flow.
no, they
and
know
that's-
that.
They have produced the paperwork and show us.
I mean, they know.
You're telling me all this stuff, but
They've
I'm
seen
not
the
seeing a business
paperwork on
plan.
this store.
Not seeing a business plan to prove that. It's all speculation.
It's your turn, Mr. Ball.
I got shot down on the 99 year lease, I couldn't find out why they wouldn't do that.
Because what they're ultimately doing, Don, they're lease purchasing the building,
So how much would the purchase price be?
650,000, same as it
Well,
is
that's
for
not
Walmart.
talk, that ain't the building, that's the interior
That's
stuff.
That's
everything
right.
together.
So we just giving them a building.
Well, no, they're paying, if they stay here 20 years and
You're
make
gonna
that
have to sign
payment,
them a
they'll
clear
get the
deed
deed.
for them to get a 15-year.
Not
just
if,
want to
not
sign
if
it
we
over.
borrowed the money and
Yeah.
let them have
Okay,
it.
well, I know in the
And
beginning,
then we'd
we,
have the building if it closed down.
But what,
We got the
The only
building.
issue
If we
with
don't
that-
do that, if we do a lease purchase and they got the building, if they walk away, everything's theirs,
the only issue with that is
except the bill.
they can't borrow enough money on the content to make that work. They can only borrow for 7 years.
We
They
can,
got-
though.
they got four, is it five
Can't we,
brothers?
Tony?
Do what?
We can borrow.
It's all according to how much
Four of
assets.
them's got stores.
Five of them.
And if
But
it's-
they've all got it.
And this is a joint decision by all of them, that they don't have enough equity in them stores to get in.
I know what you're
I
reading.
mean, even, let's say, even if we was willing to put your property up,
Because
with their equity in the property, would they not have enough?
But they possibly might.
What really bothers me
I
more
mean, cause if
is,
they done that, got the, you know, they make good on their
it won't
loan,
never.
the deeds theirs, and they get it paid off. I mean, we need somebody in there.
What's our end result?
You know what I'm
What are we
saying?
at?
I'm not against it, and I'm not about
Then
nobody
we
losing
can
their
work
job.
backwards.
Yeah.
And I like Shaq Lewis hand for what he done. I mean, he done a big thing. He done something when we needed it, but we can't get back on this again, you know?
Exactly. That's
We
what
can't
I'm
be
trying
too
to
quick to
avoid.
jump to conclusions, we gotta, but. And I know, I got family that works up there, told me the other day, I gotta have a job, you know, I can't get none of them too old. Well, I said, you might have to sit there a couple of weeks. We can't jump first thing smoking. And then you be out of job rest of your life.
What I'm telling you here, though, when he shuts down, he's gonna liquidate everything in that store. If anybody wanted to come back in, they were gonna have to buy all that brand new again,
Mhm.
restock it.
Well, and
They're gonna be
it,
in
well, it
the
might
same debt he
be,
was in.
you know, it might be better off to let him shut down, liquidate, auction it off, and him not get but like, say, maybe 250 instead of 600, and then they can take the difference and buy the building.
What do you mean?
See what I'm saying?
That's a chance.
What are you talking about, take a difference?
Cause you know if he opts it off, he ain't gonna get what he's wanting for it. You know that one was out there, that's tough.
No, he knows
And
that.
everybody ain't in the business for a cooler and a freezer and all that stuff. But I hate to see that restaurant go too, man, set that thing there.
I'm just
Patronize
telling you.
people, tear that thing up. I hate to see any of it go.
Cities all across the state and country, they come a time when everything is not just rosy and they gotta make a decision. Is it worth us, going out on a limb and helping bring this business in?
Well, I'd like to see if there's any more interest. Now, I mean, if Wally hears, well, we ain't going, well, who he brought to the table, they want to market this and he wants to leave tomorrow, tell him to shut the door.
Eugene, he's been marketing behind closed doors to.
Well, how was he doing that when he was under contract? How did he know we was gonna let him out of his contract?
He was done regardless. He's not putting any more money in it. He's shutting it down.
I understand that.
That's
But if
how-
we got a contract with him, you know, he can't sue. He's under contract. by the
The
time.
contract was for the building, for him actually to get to receive the building at the end of the.
So just what's he as he can say, contents and whatever he bought, just say.
Yep.
What in the world is that?
You know, not only that, you gotta also look at the ability of your people not to have somewhere local to go buy their groceries. They gotta drive 20 miles again to go.
We
get it.
understand all that, Daryl. Every bit of that's understood.
And
We don't-
obviously, a lot of.
We do not
want
wanna see the market go. Everybody want, I think everybody on this board wants to stay open. I believe that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go back to the risk. I'm gonna tell you the risk. It's $3,988.87 for 20 years. Okay? You're gonna own the inside contents strictly of a cooler that is depreciated to no value.
Who's gonna own it?
The town of Hackleburg.
We're gonna own every bit of it.
I know,
We're
it's
own
gonna
all of it.
depreciate to no value. So here it is, you've got an asset. That building property in that grant was right around $4 million. However, it cost you right at 1.2 million to clear it out for
2.8 million.
for past problems, okay? So you own a building that's $2.8 million, that's gonna depreciate, but the inside contents of that is gonna depreciate more, because coolers, by the time they're 20 years old, is not gonna be any of value,
Right.
okay? So here you
By
have
that
got
time,
an
it's not gonna
investment.
be our issue.
You've got an investment, Darryl, of $650,000. As a business person, for the town of Hackleburg, we want our assets to go up, not go down. So at that point, that is a liability that's going to depreciate, that's going to reduce our value. From a business perspective,
Well, what you're not taking in, Tabby, is the 60+ thousand a
if
year
you
that
can
we're
find
taking in
somebody to
off the
lease
store.
the building at $10, whatever it was we gave Wally the lease for after he
Yeah,
couldn't
just
make
let
his
them buy the
payment.
contents.
And then you have, they get the ownership of the building too when it's done. After they take up the propriety of this
And if
contract.
them four brothers done got four businesses, they'll be able to stock it.
I know I can't
That's
make
right.
y'all understand how hard it is to find anybody interested. The grocery business
But you're willing to
has
put the
changed.
town, you told us that, you're willing to put the town this far in debt with this big of a risk. Is what you're saying.
Absolutely, yes. 30 jobs, over that.
Yeah, those
period of
30
time,
jobs are not
$1.3
guaranteed.
million.
Those 30 jobs are not guaranteed,
Why aren't they?
Darryl. That other company could come in and shut the doors after 2 years. We still have the
Maybe
property.
They've gotta
contract
have
for 'em
the,
too.
they,
It ain't no different what Mr.
Wally
Wallace
under
does,
contract.
he's getting out of his contract.
They-
He's under a 15-year contract.
they've gotta
It
have a
is-
certain amount of people to run the
I under-
restaurant and the grocery store.
I understand that. He is under a contract for
He's
15
satisfied
years,
his contract.
and we still ain't got a copy of that yet.
Do you have the original
I
contract?
don't, I think it was, I'm not sure this was the only thing I had, it's original, except they changed the amount.
You got that now?
That's the only thing that was changed on this one. Everything
Okay.
else
You gotta have
is the
the original.
same.
that's right.
That's the only thing that changed. This is the contract.
This is the one that we did and or they did and sent to us to approve in December of 2017, is that correct?
Yes. Everything's the same except they changed the amount.
Do we have a contract on the grant?
What do you wanna say? You can
It
speak.
says lease term.
This is
at
over.
mid-
This is a work session, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So, an idea is brought in front of the panel, right? You're discussing it. Now, all the questions y'all got, I would table it to another work session with the people who we're talking about sitting in front of you.
That's-
Well,
I
that's
thought they
two.
both would have been here myself, but I know this was a last minute deal.
We
And all I can
we
say,
have-
I'm not gonna run, if Wally's in that bad of shape, I mean, that's just like the radio station. That went back and forth for 9 months, well, when it, push comes to shove, well, this has got to be done overnight, or I'm not coming, what happened? And I know that you can't even compare this, but it's the same deal. It's the same deal.
I want a place to go shop for groceries without a
It's
closing.
the same deal.
It says, the lease term ends at midnight on May the 21st, 2028.
Mhm. That's
That's right.
the lease.
He is under
That's 9
contract.
more years.
I've been telling, I mean,
It should be, or as
The
with the
contract
state.
is more for the town that he cannot get the deed until the
Right.
contract is up.
He can't have the deed.
That's right.
At that point in 2028, if he had met that, on that day, he could buy it for $10.
Yeah.
That
correct.
building,
Because he meant his,
because he went that long in that contract. But
But
the
as far as
contract,
the grant qualifications,
he's
he's
met
met.
them.
Just like Wrangler have met theirs.
He didn't meet his obligations, because it says 2028.
That
If he
was-
did, he'd get the
That's
building.
for getting the
Right,
building.
if he stayed that long.
But the contract that, or with the grant money and all that, he has met that.
Don, he wasn't giving grant money for the contest.
Let me tell you right
He
up
was only,
front,
the grant was.
He
good.
bought it.
something I
He
know
bought
for a fact.
contents, so.
The only thing that was there for was his getting the building after he'd been in business.
the property, yeah.
This isn't the type contract where we can enforce specific performance.
Right.
It isn't.
That's correct.
So, I mean, that's completely gone. We just will
Yes.
quit talking about that.
Right.
Yes.
We can't do it.
Right, it don't mean the.
Legally, we're handcuffed.
Right.
So, I mean, in no other way around it.
There's nothing in there to penalize him for getting out of his contract.
That's
Well,
right.
the only way he would have been hurt is if he did not meet the grant.
Right, he's already done
Which he
that,
did.
he's good.
Yeah.
And that was done prior to
Right.
any of us.
And
Right.
the town, but when it's all said and done, the town gained the property and the building period out of it, free and clear. Well, no longer.
Well, what you
If he
want-
does leave.
What you would
The
have
town had
happened
it
is
from the
Wally
beginning.
would have stayed here the duration of time. He would have not been out $2.8 million for a building, and that would have been, and it showed up on his balance sheet
Right.
as an investment.
And after
And
5
then
years,
that's
you
what
gotta
you
show
want.
it
That's
in, you
correct.
can't keep chewing
And
off,
since,
just
and
keep filing.
since he's wanting to get out of it, he's not gonna have that asset as an investment show up on his balance sheet.
Right.
I mean, bottom line.
Right,
So he started losing money
and
from
he can't file a
contract.
lawsuit
That's
on his
correct.
taxes.
So, he would have had this if he would have stayed 10 more years. He
Right.
could have turned
Free and
around
clear.
and sold it,
Right.
free and clear, and made a profit out of it. But he's not willing to wait that long.
Well, I'm
He could
sure,
have,
I'm
because
sure,
that's a $2.8 million building.
and I've been in this position several times with businesses. Some point you gotta stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
That's
And somebody's
exactly what
telling
he's doing.
him to stop, and he may have
Right.
$2 or $3 million or 10 million,
Right,
but somebody somewhere is telling him to
That's
stop the bleeding.
you can't just keep losing
According to
money.
him, his bankers and financial folks are telling him, you're exactly right, you have to stop the bleeding. You,
Right.
you can't keep putting money out of your own pocket into the store.
Right, and just as, the Bozeman's, they have a bean counter somewhere that's gonna tell them
Right.
what to do and how to do it. And unfortunately, we're gonna be in a position to have to deal on their terms unless we get somebody else, and I wonder if,
They're out there.
I wonder if they're out there.
Well,
I hope they are, but I don't know that.
I don't think they.
you know, all I can say is who all I've talked to, and I know who all he's talked to.
Who have you talked to? I know who he talked to, on right there.
I've talked to Hal Keaton,
Who, where was he on?
Big Star, Red Bay, Russell, his brother-in-law, Brooks Davis. They're kinda in together. He met, Dennis and them are gone. I know he's had several meetings with different groups.
What about, the guy on Big Star, we contacted him.
Before any of this.
I'm talking about
ever
right
came
now,
up.
I'm not talking about before, I'm talking about after we've got $2.5 million building done. After he's been talked to.
I hadn't talked to him, I don't know.
And I know he sells generic, and he's got a good, meat, and when our store was gone, that's where I bought everything I bought, was right there at doors except for my,
But how do you think he's gonna be able to buy this stuff?
I guess same way they are too, we gotta put everything up, they've got 4 stores. See, that's what gets me, you saying, how's he gonna buy it, but we've got 4 investors, we've got 4 stores, but they ain't got enough equity to get a 15-year loan, we got to put everything up, that's what I don't understand.
They've got
I mean, I'm not no millionaire, I live check to check, but I do know if you own 4 businesses, been in business since 1994, that's 24 years or 25, the 4 of them will be able to go to their bank and they'll be having enough money to come in and say, well, the town's got this property, well, you go 15 years and they tell them no, that tells me something's going on.
What do you think the payment would be?
What do you mean?
Cause you're gonna handcuff them just like he's handcuffed right now.
The thing about
Why
this,
don't you get them up here instead of
They
doing
will,
a third
be
party?
here. If we have a meeting
And
Monday
in
night,
that way
they'll be
discuss
here.
all this.
They will be here.
I mean, that's what needs to happen. They need to come
And
in
it
here
needs
with
to
a
be on
business
paper.
They
plan
will.
and have it all laid out.
They absolutely will.
Because what we're doing right now is we're doing,
wasting time.
he
We're
said,
not, we're
she
not
said,
wasting
this
time.
said.
This is the first time we could all get together
Right.
and talk. I mean, this is not a waste of time.
I'm
open to any
Well,
idea.
We've got to see what our risks are, what our liabilities are, and not look at it. This is a business venture. The town cannot lose money. We're barely, we talk
If
about,
they shut down, Tabby, they're gonna lose money. Hey,
I'm not
that's
Exactly right. See,
that's-
we will lose a percentage of taxes. I do understand that.
About
We will lose a
15 to 20%
percentage.
of our entire budget.
Okay.
That building's
We didn't
somebody
have
else,
that
somebody
in
else.
2013.
Yeah, and that's when we were
We
working
didn't
two
have it in
tops and the
2014.
city was working part-time.
We had 3 full-time town workers. We had 4
many
police
hours?
officers that were working
How many-
32, I'm
32
getting there if you'll
hours,
wait. 32 hours, because I done went and talked to the
Yeah.
previous people.
That's
They
what
were working 32 hours. Y'all had to go in 2012 and ask for how much money from the school to help pay salaries.
0.5%.
0.5%. How long did that last?
1 year.
1 year. You got yourself back
That
under
was 1
fighting.
year after total devastation
That's
of the
right.
town.
That was in what year, Darryl?
2012.
Okay, I'm getting there. 2012. We were struggling to maintain what we had going on in this town. 2013, y'all voted to take 0.5 cent of the money to help pay people's salaries.
Right.
Okay?
To survive.
To survive. You've done that for 1 year.
Right.
In 2014, the market is still not opened up yet. You went and gave the money back to the school. You sustained salaries with what the town was bringing in with the current administration. You had
As a
3 town
struggle.
workers. You had 4 police officers. You did not have the market revenue coming into this town at that time. 2015, the market opens up a half a year. Okay? We started increasing our revenue.
There you
By
go.
2000, hold on. By 2016 is when we come into office. We started developing our first budget. How many people did we put on? 1 additional officer, and we sustained the budget with 5 employees on police officers. So the town can sustain if we manage the money correctly. But if we go deeply in debt, $700,000, you're taking a high risk of not being able to pay these other people's salaries.
What if something
Because
happens
the
to
same amount of
contract?
money, the same amount of money is coming into the business because it's already been proven in black and white.
And what about contract? And another thing you didn't mention, part-time help. If
Yeah.
you'd have figured out what the
I ain't
PD was
calculate that
spending and on Steve Hood,
Yeah.
that's probably the exact same we're spending on them
So
other
you
folks.
gotta look, you can't look at just the
Steve
small
Hood
area, you gotta
didn't
look at the
work then,
overall.
And Mandy, or whoever was in that position, Heather and Vicky worked 4 days a week.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about y'all, I'm talking about
That's
the
the
part-time
32
police
hours.
officers.
I'm gonna tell y'all now what I want.
Breakfast for dinner.
No, I want us to figure out a tax that's coming in to make this payment if they leave, or we gotta make it where it won't affect everything. And I want it fixed before, if it closes, it comes back to the town.
That means you have to increase the taxes on the town.
Is that too much to ask, Tony?
Contract for them
I
to
wouldn't
sign
think so,
that they will
I
not
think we could fix it up to where if they didn't meet their
Default on
obligation, it would revert back. to
their
the town.
contract,
But I don't see why we couldn't do
default
that.
on their payment to us.
If that was done, them two items was done, and I'm talking about a sales tax or whatever, we could see that we could pay that if they closed. We'd have this money that we could pay to pay.
But
As
who
long
does
as you
it
don't have that
affect when
sales
you
tax.
raise the sales tax up, the end consumer? So if you raise it up to meet that payment,
What
you're
if we've got
affecting the
some
end
coming
consumer.
in that we could
I-
take that, like we did with the county
Right.
commission?
But if you do that, you're raising up the, right now we're at 8 cents, if we had to go up to 2 cents to meet that payment, then that affects the end user of the town. And then you're taking a chance, cause they're not gonna be buying it.
That needs to be looked at.
I mean, you
Nobody
gotta look
buys
at
too
that
much
too.
That we can
anyway.
find
There's so
find
many
that.
Well,
I mean, you
we
gotta-
wouldn't have to go up 2
Probably
cents.
so.
No.
I'm just using that
Jane,
hypothetical.
But you're talking hypothetical, and you're always at the top.
Where they
Tabby.
can make a profit.
Probably
You
about
never
half
have
a
to at the
cent.
bottom.
You've got to have a plan in place there.
I'm just saying, if you
Lay it
ever
out.
talk hypothetical,
I
you're
know,
at the
lay it
top.
out. 2 or 3 options right here, bring it all in it, and then we will address the risk. Because what happens in 2 years, well, a year and a half, we're not in this positions, and the next people comes in and say, well, them bunch of blankety blank people up there got the town $700,000 in debt.
That's been said
It wasn't a
before.
good
It's
decision,
been
because
said
now that
before
we can't
from
manage,
ones
I done
ahead.
had to lay off poor Carla, well, hope we got Mandy down, and y'all been cut back 32 hours, because we can't make the bills.
So if we lose that, if we lose
I mean-
that
It's
65,000
a
a
risk.
year,
Anyway, so,
It's a
if we
risk.
lose that 65,000 a year, what are we gonna do to them?
True,
yeah,
cause I'm not gonna shop at the dollar store
yeah,
for all of
Yeah,
it.
you can't.
nobody does. Nobody shops all at
No,
the
but you're
market
gonna
right
take
now
your
anyway.
money out of the town.
I'll shop
gonna
at the
lose all
market
of
and the
it.
dollar store. If I can't get it there, I don't go. And that's the way our people should
If we
think,
do the two
to
items,
help our
I'm
own
gonna
town.
vote for it.
Well, they would if the prices would have been right.
Well, how much, gas are you gonna spend going
I
to
can't.
another town?
Well, I can't go over and pay
Well,
$5 for a jar of
He
spaghetti
went-
sauce, I can get it in Hamilton for 99 cents, and I work down there and go by there every day. You can't do it.
I don't think
Honestly.
anybody can compete with
Right.
Walmart, but that's just how
You
it
gotta-
is. But we're
you've
a
got
small
to-
town, and we gotta try to,
You got to support
Gotta
your
try
own
to shop
town.
local.
and
We're not
even-
saying we won't support the town, have a business plan. Let's look at the risk and then move forward.
I agree with you. I don't have a problem with it. But I'm thinking the risk of losing this money and losing this store is
I understand,
at least as big or if not bigger than that risk.
but you gotta see the risk.
They don't want to make a decision tonight.
No,
Just don't
No,
want
we
to
can't make a decision tonight, Eugene.
Well, that's
This is
what it
work
sounds
session.
like. You
You
keep
can't-
telling
you
her.
can't-
The,
You can't.
there's
make
no
that
risk
work
that we're gonna
session.
lose the
You can't
store.
make
The
It's
store's
probably-
gone.
It's probably because.
You
I
said
know
the
that
store
for a
was
fact.
gone. Wally's gone. When is his projected leave date? January 31st, August the 1st? How much time has he given us?
If
Did he
we-
tell you?
I told him it'd probably be mid-August before we could probably do anything.
So August 15th, he's gone.
Possibly.
You probably would have already been gone.
Well, that's on him. On me.
No, that's on us.
It's
It
on
ain't,
us.
it's on
You
him.
can't make that kind of,
Man,
See,
fresh
you know,
man,
Put some beer in
Yeah.
here.
decision like that, it's gonna be on paper. I ain't gonna be.
Darryl.
Nothing.
At some point, we're gonna have to sit down with them
Right.
to negotiate.
Mhm.
What we need tonight is kind of where the parameters of where we're gonna be able to negotiate.
Right.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we don't have anything.
Mhm.
We'll have to bring that back before the council again, but we need to get an idea of where we're headed. I mean, obviously,
Something to look at.
Well, I don't want anybody to vote on anything they can't see on paper.
Right.
But tonight is a discussion of what we do know. What we do know is gonna happen. What we do know, a proposal or two it's either gonna have to be, get them the deed up front where they can finance any of them, not just them, any of them. They need the deed up front where they can extend the financing, or we're gonna have to take on, buy Wally out, and us do the lease purchase financing. And I've talked to a bunch of financial people, businessmen, that have all said they would absolutely do it that way.
And one of them told me that he'd do it to 99 years like I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, if they can make it work without wanting the deed and the financial, and the financing, I'd be great with that.
Well, them people you was talking about, if they're financially stable, let's sign it over to them and let them do it. And then they can make the interest and then we'll be free and clear of it. I mean, I'm all for that.
Eugene, can you not talk to financial great
I mean,
businessmen
yeah,
without them saying, oh, I'll buy it?
I don't
I know what
understand
I'm
that, but
saying.
they're saying if it's such a good deal, you know, and they're at the opportunity to.
The problem you got, Eugene, and I think they're gonna look at this contract.
Yeah, what he's losing.
And they're gonna know that he's losing money. They're not gonna buy a pig and poke, is the problem.
That's why I can't figure out
They're
why
I
my brother.
don't care how wealthy they are, they need to get wealthy with being stupid.
They're not gonna buy it as an investment when they can't make.
And we don't wanna
But
buy
you're saying the
something we're
town
not
needs to
gonna be
stick their town
stupid
head.
in.
True, but we
You
don't have
just,
to
you
meet.
just answered your own
Yeah,
question.
he
We
wants
don't have
us
to
to go
meet
in debt
somewhere like-
650,000.
I mean, that's the
Yeah, I
plan.
think somewhere.
The lease purchase would be at least 20 years, wouldn't it? And
And
that
even
makes it
before
look
they try to
different
buy
to me.
something else, they have to produce a business ledger of what they.
It makes it look
we-
better to
They have
me,
to.
let me put it
Right.
that way.
Can you be asking them if you come in here and try to do something like that?
So I don't know how long they'll go, but I know that, we want this store as long as we can keep it. You know, and we don't have to completely own it, but if we're doing a lease purchase, let's make it at least 20 years and all the years that we can get before they can buy it. That way, if they're gonna be open 20 years down the road, they always told us when a business comes into a town or a plant or anything,
Yep.
within 5 years, you need to be hunting somebody to replace them. Within 5 years, they gonna be gone.
I mean, they'll
So if
have
they
so
stay
many years,
10,
even if it is
they're probably
50,
gonna be
whatever
here
it
20,
is.
you know.
They
Yeah,
will not
yeah.
tie back into
Put a
it.
stipulation in there that if they mess up,
And it's too big.
they won't get out.
I mean, it's a
It
big
reverts back
You
to
can't
us.
turn around
That's
and
what
think
I
about
like to say.
They're gonna pull the plug too.
That's what I want to say.
And the only thing with that, Kevin, is if they use the building for collateral through the bank,
It's going to not let it.
can they get it back? And the bank may say, hey,
Full business.
And then you don't wanna take
it's
the
local
check out.
bank.
That's what I can't wrap my head around.
They
I
might
can't
say,
fathom that.
if it don't work, we're gonna.
Been in business 25 years before investors can't come up with, they'll be able to sign a clear deed on $700,000, especially in business 25 years. I think. These people pay $500,000 for a house.
There ain't nobody that takes.
One thing, yeah, and this is just a character thing. They are in locations they can sell out on.
There you go. Yeah, it needs to stay.
They will not tell you.
That's pretty strong to be a
Something
character.
jumping there to decide overnight.
They'll stand by their lead.
And I don't expect anybody tonight to say, good deal, bad deal, I'm not doing it, yeah, let's do it tomorrow. I'm not expecting that. But we have not met as a group to discuss it. And we have to start somewhere. And it is, honest to God, it's time sensitive, I ain't gonna lie. But that don't mean, you know, we still gotta see on paper what we gotta see.
Well, the people you're talking about investing in the store, if everything went their way, if they done got 100% guarantee, they're gonna take over and be selling groceries the next day. If they done got their financial institution to give them the go-ahead with their stipulations they presented to them. If we're on board.
Run that by me one more time.
The people that's wanting to buy the store,
Right.
have they done talked to their financial institution, went to them and said, right, here's what we're proposing. if they sign off, will y'all give us a check? Have they done that?
We're doing the deal right now.
I'm talking about the people wanting the money.
Well,
If they know what they want, they should have done talked to whoever they want to finance it. Went there and said, look, right here's what we're gonna, before they even come and talk to us, if they're gonna have to borrow the money, look, right here's what we're proposing. If the town will do this, will y'all loan us the money? Have they talked to their lenders? That's what I'm saying.
I'm sure they have, but on this deal that we're talking about, they can't do anything till we had a lease purchase deal with them.
Well, I was talking about the other deal that you talked to me about on the phone.
We're giving them the
Obviously-
deed up front.
Yeah, obviously they done been talked to about it or whatever.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. We
Because
give
they
them the
told you
deed up
they had to
front,
have
yeah.
the money to get the loan or something.
Yeah, anybody does. Anybody interested in purchasing it, if we don't go the route we're talking about, they would have to have the deed up front. Which is really kind of more dangerous, cause they could walk in a year and have that $2.8 billion asset and be gone with it.
We're going on the contract. But
Well,
anyway,
if they file bankruptcy or whatever, you can tear a contract up.
well, it's our building. If it's in there, well, they can't be.
Not if we
I
give them,
don't
not if
know.
we give them the deed, because they're gonna give it to the bank as collateral.
Can you not put your name on that deed just like you do a car when somebody got a lien against it?
If you loan them the money, you can.
Like a code, well, you know, when you buy a car, that ain't never signed over you till you pay it off. Now, you can take it, drive it,
Right, the
claim it
bank's
as yours.
gonna- Right. So if they
Could it not
walk,
be
it's
drew up
gonna
like
belong to the
that?
bank. I mean, it can't.
Yeah, if they got the
I don't
money
know
from
how
the bank, yeah,
would
yeah,
take
if
the
they got
deed.
the money from the bank. I can't see how 4 successful grocery stores
Fine.
needs our building to get on.
Let me tell you
Oh.
what I think the ultimate thing the banks would do. We can put a stipulation in a contract where it reverts back to us. However,
We'll be liable. for that money.
we would have to exempt the financial institution, and I don't care how much money these people got, how, they may be billionaires, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not gonna put their money in the store.
Right.
Nobody,
They-
is.
right.
Their attorney and accountants won't let them.
No.
They just won't do it, I mean, it doesn't
I
happen.
mean, if you looked at that, Wally could say, well, I'm just gonna keep, I've got plenty of money.
That's right,
I don't know if
he's
it
gonna
does or
keep
not.
plenty of money.
But when his people are telling him, stop doing that. I know you tried to do a good thing, it's not working. Let somebody that knows the business buy it.
But Hackleburg, if we put some language, like I want you to know this, and I guarantee you, if we put language in the contract that it comes back to the town of Hackleburg, the lending institution will have to be exempted from that, because they're gonna take the building.
Right.
I'm just telling you, that's. the
Yeah,
way-
that ain't gonna stick, that'd be like signing a loan without collateral on it or whatever.
But that's right,
Yeah.
but I guarantee you the bank will do that, because I've drawn several
like a
contracts
signature.
where I had to exempt a bank
Right.
to get the money. And we can do that. I mean, I'm just telling you, up front, I don't care if it's the Piggly Wiggly group or if it's Sam Walton. They're gonna do that. People are not in the business of losing money, and they're gonna do that. That will be a separate corporation, I don't care who owns it, whether it's Piggly Wiggly, Walton, or anybody else. Hackleburg Market's gonna be a separate corporation. It will be financed, guarantee you that. There will not be any money from that corporation or those corporations put into this up front.
Right.
Because if it doesn't make it, it'll be a corporation. They may bankrupt the corporation. That's a risk. That's gonna be a risk whoever's up here. I don't care who it is. Unless they're just completely stupid. And I'm not the smartest person in the world, I'm not trying to.
Right.
But that, I know that for a fact. I've been there and done it too many times and seen it done. So we're gonna be dealing with this no matter who is buying this if Hackleburg is going to have a grocery store, those are gonna be the terms and conditions, no matter who comes in here.
That's right. Well, I agree. I don't disagree with anything anybody has said tonight. But I just want to want y'all to understand the point of, we are either gonna have to sell it and probably be creative in helping somebody finance it, or it's gonna close. It's gonna be one of the two. If it
Well, it's
closes,
like I
there'll
told
never
you.
be another grocery
Yeah.
store come back.
It's like I told you, the only thing I was against from the point we started talking about it was jumping the gun. And I understand, you know, back prior to getting the building built and all of that, no, they didn't know nobody, because the ones that was in it knew the risk. And he had the money for whatever reason, you know, he stuck his neck out, I'm very thankful he did. But now, you know, we've got a little bit of collateral, understand these other people want to jump on it. But still, you know, they've got 4 stores, and I still can't understand why they can't get a 15-year. But anyway, besides that, I'm willing to help anybody. We need a grocery store, period.
I understand what you're saying, but
Well, they drove-
nobody's gonna use their own money.
Yeah, I know that.
And come and say, oh yeah,
I
we
know.
own 5 stores, we'll put up 650,000, and then we got the $250,000
Yeah.
for, our working capital. Because we gotta pay labor, we gotta pay workman's comp, we gotta pay insurance, we gotta pay utilities.
Yeah, my dad's 75 and broke, and ain't no joke, and I seen him get $50,000 on this night. That was one man.
What scares me,
What?
Mayor, is if it closes, we may be like Littleville. We may never see another grocery store.
You're right.
I know, you might say something else, but.
And the problem in the grocery business, because it is highly competitive, we're gonna have to deal with somebody
That's in it.
that's in it and has made it work.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, I mean, if somebody walked in here today and said, I'll put up the money and buy all this, I don't think that'd do us a bit of good, because I think they'd eventually lose so much money,
Right.
they go out of business. So we gotta deal with a known entity.
That's
The
right.
margins are so tight.
Somebody that's incorporated or something that can get them deals on them commodities.
You gotta buy bulk.
Yeah, right, if you have 5 stores, you can buy in bulk,
Yeah.
you have buying power.
Well, that's like Gurley Ray, you know, he got in that deal, and when he did, that opened him up with all them other 20 stores, you know, and he signed them with Shell. But if you don't, they put the small man out of business, it ain't no,
That's exactly right.
you know, and just like Wally, he bought what he could of the off-brand stuff, but some of that name-brand stuff he couldn't, he wasn't in the clique, so no, you gonna pay wholesale, and then you gonna turn around retail. And that's
And
what sunk him.
when you get a one-man
Yeah, that's what sunk
operation,
him. He wasn't incorporated, they wouldn't nobody let him in.
well, he.
Well, he was,
Living in Nashville, he, in order to make it in the grocery business, you've gotta be there every day, you gotta be grinding.
Or you got another business one, have somebody
Right.
working for you that.
You know,
And these people are gonna move to Hackleburg too if they do the deal.
well, that's great. The problem that you got now, even with all business, particularly the grocery business, that is highly competitive, everybody knows it. All businesses, you better stay on top of it.
Right.
You better be there and watch your business.
That's right.
That is called guarding the trout.
Yeah.
You better guard your trout, no matter what you trap.
You've gotta be there.
That's fact.
And, you know, not only that, like I said, the restaurant is with it, so you lose your only sit-down restaurant besides the new Mexican restaurant, which everybody don't want Mexican every meal. You know, the Panther Mart has biscuits and sandwiches and pizza, but, you know, people don't, they wanna sit down and have a meal. And, I'm just trying to stress, we have a lot at stake to lose here. Not only for us, but for our people that use it and count on it being there.
And even the people coming after us.
Right. If we lose it, we're gonna put them in a financial bind. I know, Tabby, and you're right, they, you know, they're gonna inherit whatever we leave them. If we do that deal, they're gonna inherit that debt.
So how do you feel about, changing the subject, how do you feel about Contour and what's going on over there? I mean, I don't know how much you talk to them or whatever, and ain't nothing guaranteed. But, you know, if something happens there and they're up and go, which I know, I mean, we've got a lot of people that works there and we got a lot of people that don't. But You know, like you was talking about us fixing to start financing a $650,000 building, you know. And if they move out, there you go. Ain't nothing guaranteed, but
According to their management, they told us nothing would change in the dental part.
sales and
It's just
everything
like-
still good. I
Contract
mean, I know
would
nothing's
be dental,
guaranteed, but
and Vanity Fair was going to the sport division, North Base, Timberland.
so they're staying in Genius basically.
Yes, they'll still be headquartered in Greensboro. Nothing really changes.
I'm
For
kinda
them, except for
paranoid,
the
but I
name.
look at it like they figured out a way to beat the government.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they split, really, is what they done. They didn't get bought out, it's not a company.
The,
Just change the name.
the whole role of a corporation is to make money. And to stockholder corporations, is to make as much money for the stockholders to whom they owe an obligation.
Right.
And they use every vehicle imaginable to do that. And it's not beating the government, that's why there's loopholes and et cetera in the tax code, believe it or not. They're set up to give incentives to do stuff
But I
like that.
meant the tax code's about the government.
It is, but it's also,
But they know Contour has to be there,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, so
Yeah.
they're gonna employ 230 or 250, whatever
They
it
ask
is.
for 30 hands right now, experienced hands.
Well, you
Just
got
saying,
Clayton
don't
down
fight.
here, you know, we had them on the radio Monday. They're needing 25 people right now, you know, to come to work.
right, I heard that.
That, you know, it's a great thing.
But in the end, Don, the government knows that. They've known it for years, and that's why the tax code is the way it is. And it doesn't seem fair just looking at it. It probably
It gives
is.
a loophole, don't it?
It's not to the working man, but it does supply the working man a job, I guess.
That's right. The ends justify the means to some extent in that. Which I don't like it either when I look at it, but I think, well, on the macro scale, it looks a lot better.
Right.
Micro scale doesn't work.
We don't want it to leave here.
No, no.
And that's what I'm saying. It's hard to ever bring in a new company, but you certainly don't want to lose anything
Yes.
if there's any way around it. And if we can help somebody that's here already and we know what they're capable of and the revenue they're capable of producing, we have an obligation to try to do what we can.
You know, we limit our risk as much as possible in negotiations.
Right.
But that's one reason for this meeting. Because whether I'm doing the negotiating, Daryl's doing it, or one of you are doing it, or we have an expert to assist us, at some point, we're gonna be negotiating with these folks. And I've done a whole lot of that. And what happens in a good negotiation, that both sides walk out and fire their attorneys. But
You're fired, we won't even wait now.
but that is the truth. I mean, but you gotta get an idea of where that line is. Where, we can't stand it beyond that. And we gotta know that.
Well, and
That's gonna go
even,
back to finances, bottom line.
That's right.
We act the same way with the drugstore. What we got coming in, what we got, I know we sit here and discuss it, but I've never had everything laid out in front of me where I can look at every document to see where, then the money obviously coming in, because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to spend it, but,
But we've gotta figure out where we're willing to go, or where we're not willing to go. Is there a place that we're not willing to go? We gotta know that before we even go to negotiate. And,
then I guess that starts with their, I don't know. So you done said Wally's still figure out there is gonna put him in a loss, is that just to them, or is that anybody that was willing to take it?
I would assume anybody, but,
And you said he offered for what, 6.5?
They offered that. is that?
They offer $550.
And that's just for what he owns and contents.
No, the buyer offered $550.
To him, and all he owns
He
is.
wanted $800. So they negotiated to $650.
And that's just for the contents of the store and the coolers and stuff, what he owns.
He paid 1.4 million. He's got it down to 800,000 and we'll take 650. Cause he knows, like you said, if he does liquidate it all, he's gonna take a loss.
Right, bigger than that.
Right, he knows that. So why not take the 150 loss right there? Don't skip a beat, keep the store open and let somebody come in and purchase it.
Yeah, I suspect
He understands that.
he's got a savvy accountant telling him to stop the bleeding
Right.
down here and stop it right now.
Right. And you're gonna get gouged pretty good if you shut it down, rather than go ahead and take your lumps and, you know, move on.
Right.
You know, towns float bonds all the time to help businesses. I mean, you know, they do it, don't bat an eye.
Big town.
Essentially,
Town of 1,200
well,
people.
no, small towns do too. We just hadn't never really.
Explain, I mean, I don't know
We don't have nothing here to-
explain how a bond works, I know nothing about it.
Well, they sell municipal bonds, they draw a little better interest than a normal investment in, say, a certificate of deposit or even T-bills or something like that, because there are some risks to those. And you'll see portfolios, investment portfolios, where they have a part of it invested in municipal bonds. And they generally pay a pretty fair interest rate, 4.5%, 5%.
But usually it costs us a good price to do a bond issue, don't it?
Yep.
It does,
Yes, it
it
And
does.
the rates can change and some, but, you know, the interest rate, one bank offered at 4%. It's pretty good, I thought.
You know, if the town of Hackleburg were to float a bond issue, we'd have to pay a good price up front to get it drafted.
Now, where does that money come from, the government, on the bond, I don't,
From the people that buy the bonds.
And I've got one myself, and they pay me 4%. And
Yes.
I've got more in it than I did 5 years ago when I bought it.
Yeah,
I'm invested in something.
and
but
a
that's
good,
it, but I don't
a
know
good
what
investment portfolio,
diversify.
again, that's a risk.
Yeah.
You're taking a risk, and they're not a high risk. Not many towns go bankrupt.
Yeah.
But,
This is a town in South Alabama that I've got mine with.
and it's very unlikely that it would go bankrupt. But nonetheless, it is a risk. It's not FDIC guaranteed.
That's right.
There is no backing for municipal bonds.
Mine's through Edward Jones, so, and they told me up front, it's not FDIC,
That's right.
and it's not guaranteed.
But a good investment portfolio for the long term will include that.
And I guess part of it, I just think back to how hard it was when we were trying to get somebody to come in and build a grocery store. Nobody. I mean, we went to all the usual suspects, you know. Had Paul Ray been alive, he would have probably took care of that issue. Honestly, he would probably stepped in and, not to say he wouldn't have sold it or whatever, but nobody we talked to had any interest in it. And it came down to Wally stepped in pretty much the last minute, or we wouldn't be sitting here talking about a store at all. So there's not people lining up, and I know what y'all are saying, well, if it goes empty, somebody will come in. I don't think they will, and everybody I've talked to don't think they will. And y'all can talk to them for yourself, whoever.
Well, it might not be a grocery store, but it may be something, not saying it'll be anything.
Well, I don't know anything in a small town.
There's a lot of automobile
more complex
makers
than a
building
grocery store
plants, and
that
they
can fill
spin
that.
off 300, 400 employee plants off of that stuff.
Who's that?
Hell, any of them, Toyota, Mercedes, any of them, they gotta have door handles, they gotta have this, they gotta have that. And that's something else we're gonna have to start doing, it's too late now, obviously, unless we really get reelected. We're gonna have to start marketing this town to them companies. No, we can't support a 1,500 employee thing, but, I mean, if contractor leaves, the trailer plant will probably be there, if contractor's gone, we're on.
We got a man working for the county, they ain't getting nothing.
You know, Hamilton, you and Winfield, they're on the interstate, they've got an advantage. We don't have a 4-lane, we don't have a railroad track, it's tough.
Well, I'm not
saying
talking
it
about
can't be done.
1,500, I'm talking about 350, 400 people.
Exactly, I'm not saying it can't be done, but, you know, right now, I agree.
An old grocery store is the most important right now.
Right.
Well, as a town, you need a grocery store. I don't wanna go out of town to buy groceries.
I've had mayors from other small towns call and say, how did y'all get a grocery store? Because they can't, they've tried, they can't get one, nobody will come in. And I tell them, you know, we had one before the tornado, and had it not been for help through the government, we couldn't have rebuilt it. But,
Who owns the grocery store now?
Wally.
Oh, he owns the intake.
Well,
Just on the inside, all he
You talking
owns.
about the building?
Yeah, who owns the building?
Well, the town owns the building.
Okay, one town put a store in there.
Well, we're not set up really to run
Man, ain't set up.
we're not.
Y'all got the store built, but y'all don't wanna put nothing in it.
Well,
And all y'all sitting up there arguing, like you know everything, don't know nothing. If you own that store, put a business in it.
We've got one in it.
How you got one in it? He's trying to leave.
Mayor, if we
Yeah,
put a
that's what we're
grocery
trying
store
to
in
do.
it, we're right back to square one, just
Well,
like this.
here's the deal, the town did that, the town can't do that for two reasons, there's more than $650,000. That's on the equity.
No, we can't.
There's
It's
upkeep
gotta be
charge, that's
grocery
25%.
people.
And then but there's more, the town can't run a grocery store.
They can't.
No, they have to
I have a
have,
question.
Go ahead.
These council meetings, I'll probably squall, I don't. But I live here,
I do too.
And y'all come in 2 times a month, if you come in. And I've not seen none of y'all go and try to get the business. Y'all don't even ask. And I'm here, I'm with the people. Like Eugene said, who's gonna be the one that goes and gets the business if you can't come in every 2 times a month? And I'm not blaming y'all, it's other councils as well. But you can talk about, we need businesses, well, who's gonna go get them?
Ain't nobody.
And I work with Darryl, and I'm not giving him kudos. Did y'all know the store was gonna close? Did y'all even know that there was a possibility? Yes. Have y'all been looking for other people to come look at it?
No, because I didn't know last Friday when they called me that he was shutting the door, we've been there now for 3 years.
Darryl has been on the phone. He's talking
No,
every
that's what I'm
grocery
saying
store.
with them though, possible buyers, I mean, when was you made aware of all of this? I was made aware of it Friday.
But y'all been on council and you know we're small town. But there's nobody we need, but nobody's going to say, well, I'll go down there and talk to somebody. I'll make the
There's
effort to
meeting
do
there
it.
right in this town.
Anytime I wanna go to Montgomery, if they let me know when they're going,
Who's
but
going?
anytime they ever went, I was made aware the night before they was gonna go the next day, so if you're not aware, you can't go.
Well, hold on, let's go back to Mandy's question. Her original concern was about bringing businesses into town. What draws businesses into Huntsville area? Because a lot of business comes into there, and it's got to do with their tax breaks, it's got to do with reliable power, it's got to do with investments,
we
and
don't
the
have that.
area that it's at. We don't have an industrial park here, okay? We brought this up right after we come into office. You gotta have money to buy land, to invest, to build an industrial park. Well, if you don't have money to invest and try to get businesses here, you can't grow.
We don't
So you have to ask people, you constantly ask people, what's the definition of growth for a town? And most of them can't answer. Well, I want to see more businesses come. Well, they can't answer that question because you go in and you look at society now and the younger generation with millennials. Guess how many times UPS comes to my house a week and FedEx? Because I got a daughter-in-law that don't do nothing but buy everything on and I hope this, she sees this on video. Nothing against it, it's more convenient that she can go to Amazon and buy it there, and it's delivered to the house free.
The state's
But
taxing.
our thing
That's
is
right.
for the older people
And
here that don't shop online.
There's a lot of people that is doing that now. So if you look at companies and even Walmart's struggling. So what did Walmart do?
They want to do it online.
They went to doing online because they've got to be able to compete with Amazon, or they're gonna start seeing some of their businesses shut down. It's hard. It's hard to get a small business owners. We got a business right down the road that is owned by a local family that's wanting to shut the doors too, and y'all ain't even mentioned it yet. And it's the hardware. Has anybody brought that up yet? No.
You're right. They
Nobody's
shut
fighting for
their
them either.
Yeah.
I was gonna
So
say,
we've got a problem that how do we retain? And it
how do
goes
we
back,
maintain what we have?
it goes back
We
to
don't get
being
any
able
bigger.
to be competitive. It's business. A man or a woman will not invest if they're not making money.
That's true.
Bottom line.
That's what we've been saying this whole time.
Bottom line, well, Wally's losing money. You're taking a risk. They're losing money at the hardware too because they want to get at it. So it's a risk. When they can go up here, because I called Ann England.
They
I said,
are-
Ann,
And they
why?
have other reasons too.
Yeah,
why
there's
they-
other ones, yeah.
they
But
were
I'm just
behind
using
that.
the overall marginal dollar is what I'm looking at. Ann England owned the store. We called her up and said, Ann, is this a good investment? She said, no. The reason is when they put Tractor Supply in, and they put Rural King in, and they put what other company in? Lowe's, Home Depot. When they came into business, what happened to the small town hardware stores? What happened to them?
And we know
I
this,
agree.
but what do we do?
I agree
How
with that,
can we
Tammy,
keep our
and
town going?
that kind of makes the point
Our businesses.
of
that
we're
we have.
competing with Walmart
Yeah, it's hard. All
and
I'm saying,
every town
all I'm
around
saying
here.
it's a hard, it's very hard.
It is.
And it's whoever's gonna invest that money, they'll come into this community, they're gonna look at the bottom dollar. If they're not making a dollar, I don't care if we put somebody in it tomorrow brand new. If they don't turn the profit around, they're going to close the door. No ifs, ands, buts about it.
This guy knows what he was doing, 'cause he lost it all. He had a car lot right out there. All he done was rob people. They ain't even selling cars out there now, 'cause they're too doggone high on them.
I bought one from him.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I
Yeah,
sure
but she's
did.
got money.
And I got
Yeah,
a
she
good
got
deal on
money.
it.
There's
But
another
you
thing
can't tell
too.
him when I car gonna buy one off of him. You know what he told him? He didn't have enough money to
He's
buy
talking
one.
about-
I don't care what he told you, Jimmy said, instead
Oh,
of.
well.
Well, there's another thing too, when you talk about bringing businesses and people here to work and all that. Where's the land where they can buy to build homes?
All kind of land around here.
Yeah, but nobody wants to sell it though. I'm not selling my land. You know, I mean,
But what Mandy was saying,
Sounds to me, I'll
we've
sell
got to
my land and
maintain
house
what
my
we
home.
have,
Yeah.
and as a small town and a small town council, we look to y'all as the citizens, and, you know, we just want to maintain what we have.
But, true, let's talk about Dollar General. Dollar Generals are popping up in
Everywhere.
everywhere. Why is that?
Because
They make money.
Why are they making money?
Because they're cheap.
Because they're cheap. And they're popping up in rural areas where there ain't probably 20 people in that area. But you'll see them on the side of the road somewhere because
thank
of the
goodness we
price.
have one.
I mean, we're going back to pricing. Because people cannot afford to pay these other prices.
They cut in on Walmart, didn't they?
That's correct. And because you can drive right down 24 and there's a Dollar General in the middle of, man, where's everybody at?
On
You know?
the side of the road.
It is, it is.
We're
And that ain't
talking-
just one of it.
I understand
I
what
mean,
you're
it's-
saying, and I shop Dollar General
Mhm.
when I can, but you can't go in there and buy groceries.
It's about profit. It's about profit, bottom line.
you could buy groceries at the Dollar General Marketplace or buy this grocery store here in Tennessee because they're doing it all over the
They're not
country.
going to, because they tried to get them to build one.
You had $1 million.
But you own the building.
All you
The
gotta do-
incentive is there for them to do it.
They're not going, they're not,
Do what?
They wouldn't have to build a building.
I mean, we gotta talk. They own a Dollar General here. They're not gonna cross the road and build another one, when they wouldn't build it to begin with.
What they're gonna.
I mean, they're just.
Won't talk about
Well, they didn't.
Access their risk.
They own the, where the eye clinic is now, and they wouldn't get good
It's not a
business.
market
market.
though. It's just a regular.
Well, I mean,
They
I'm
got-
saying-
And I understand it's a,
It'd be awkward
we're not
finding
gonna
out.
lose, cause that's losing money,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah, Red Bay got one.
Yeah, I just don't have meat.
Red Bay got a big market, Dollar General.
And I'm proud for every town around here that does great. I hope they all do good, but we've got something we've got to deal with right here. And I don't
Well-
expect anybody to make a decision tonight, but
Right now, the sales tax in Hackleburg is 8%.
8%, lowest in the county.
In Hamilton, it's 10%. Probably gonna be higher than that before long.
Yeah.
And 1% of that goes to the school,
Right,
so
so it's
we only
actually
get
7.
7%.
Correct. But the shopper that's coming here, now Hackleburg, I have lived in Hamilton and come to Hackleburg to buy groceries back when the Piggly Wiggly was here, because they had a great meat market. And a lot of people came to Hamilton to buy.
All over.
Yeah.
All
Then
over.
it's only 28% of the business was from Hamilton.
Right, they had a doggone good meat market, and that attracted me,
It did me too.
So, is that gonna be part of that business?
Well, it's the same one. Jim Pierce runs it now that ran it at the Piggly Wiggly.
Right.
So, you
Are
know,
they gonna keep them employees, or that's another?
well, I mean, they said
Can't
they
answer
want to.
that.
They'll interview everybody, I'm sure, you know. But they want to.
They can't ask nobody to run a store no better than they can. And the man in Hackleburg runs one better than he can. He's the
Kim Loveless
best.
give him a run for his money.
Huh?
Kim Loveless gives him a run for his
Oh, him and Ken, now,
Kim.
one,
money. Kim Loveless.
I don't, oh,
She, yeah, she gives him a run for his money.
yeah.
But anyway, you know, there is a sense of urgency. We're not talking about, hey, we need to know tonight, but it's something.
So what's the
everybody
game
needs.
plan before we walk out them doors? What's the game plan from here to the next meeting?
What do you wanna know between now and
I don't know, you tell me, you've talked to them, I mean,
Well, you tell me
what
what
are
you
you gonna
want.
draw up and present to us, so we can look at it at the next meeting?
You tell me what you wanna know.
I mean, I
I
don't
don't
know.
have it.
Tabby already did.
I already told you. You bring a business plan with whatever those 3 offers are, 2, whatever they are, and assess the risk. And then you vote.
What are you talking about, 3 offers? You talking about
You
the
gave
three?
He
2.
just got one
You
offer.
gave 2, you said
He
2.
just
One
got
up
one
front?
now.
Huh?
He just got one offer from the
Well,
people.
no, he said there was
No,
2. He
they'll-
said there
they'll
was,
take
the
the
town of
same one.
Hackleburg buy out
Oh,
$650,000.
yeah,
Or
okay.
put the deed up.
Or
for
you put the
collateral
deed
too.
up for collateral for the other one.
Right.
Or
third option,
the
something
third
like that.
option's whatever they propose.
Yeah, it needs to be on paper, right?
Whatever it says, and then you say, this risk right here is too high for the town, this risk is a medium risk,
That's
this
what
right
you
here,
said, yeah.
and then you assess those situations. And you have them people here, because this is all word of mouth,
They'll be here.
I understand, it's word of mouth, that if we go in here and we say that, yeah, we're gonna take this high risk, which is the $650,000, right now, that's the highest risk, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna take one on for 20 years to pay almost $4,000 a month payment. That's not counting any rent on the building, that's strictly the contents, which is the depreciation, which goes on our balance sheet,
Yeah.
okay? That goes
Sure
on our
does,
balance
yeah,
sheet, it does
yeah.
not go on theirs, it goes on ours.
Right.
So we have to show that as a collateral asset on our balance sheet.
We're gonna start going in.
That's
there.
correct, so we are.
Yeah.
So you have to look at every bit of that, how it affects the town overall. Then you have to look at the other one, which is, we're going to allow them to take a deed, which is a $2.8 million. We're not even gonna worry about the contents, because that means he's gotta buy that. That's gotta be in what that agreement is. And then we have to look at, what are we taking a risk there? We're taking a risk that if they don't fulfill that contract, whatever it is in that lease agreement, that we can withhold. If we say that they gotta maintain it for a certain amount, or they gotta give it back to us, which we can.
No, they can't, because
Well,
the bank's gonna.
Tony said that you can put, yes,
It'll
you
limit
can.
withdrawal, but you're not
Yes,
gonna
you
get many
can.
banks to completely.
There is language that you can put in there for that. And
They
the
would
third
be more,
option.
I think, if I'm not wrong, they would be more probably eager to do that with the town involved instead of just doing it for a company.
There's no doubt.
They don't wanna, Darryl, they don't wanna maintain that risk. You want the town to take every bit of the risk, is what you're saying. You're saying that they won't do it. Well, if they won't do it,
Who won't do it?
why would we do it?
Who am I saying?
And they're running 4 Piggly Wigglies.
Who am I? Five.
Five.
Who am I saying won't do it?
Whatever the people's name is, Bowens or whatever they are.
I'm saying nobody would do it.
Then if nobody would do it, then why would we invest in it, Darryl?
Because they would.
That's a high risk.
Who's got
We're
$1
not,
million?
we don't have $1
laying
million.
around? Yeah, and we don't have to come up with $1 million.
We have to come up with $650,000. We don't
We
have that laying
we
around
don't
either.
have to operate it, we don't have to maintain
You're
it.
answering
we
your
don't
own
have to
questions.
work it. No, no, we don't have
The
to.
risk is
have to work
3.2
it
million,
capital.
not 650,000.
Yeah,
Your risk is 3.2 million,
yep,
because you're risking the building and 650,000.
that's correct. Bring it all on the table. It's gotta be here. It can't be this crap that went on with the other building, and we went back and forth, and we never saw a contract, and then it was this, and it was this. We gotta hurry up, there's urgency on doing it. That puts pressure when you start that. So our next council meeting is a week from Monday. So are you saying that every bit of this proposal will be here for us to make a decision?
I'll do everything I can.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I'll do everything I can.
Well, some help would be, he needs help sometimes, and he don't have that.
They're the financial, and they're the ones that make the decision on if it's financially smart, Carl.
I've been seeing that too.
Well, the proposal needs to come from them. He doesn't have to do it.
That's right, they don't come
They
from
have to do
there.
all the footwork.
Yes,
They're
ma'am, I
supposed
know
to do
that.
all that.
But
They
I'm
don't do all
saying
the
he's done
footwork.
all
The
this
mayor, I
work, and
promise you,
nobody
the mayor-
else
Well, I'm talking
knows
about the
anything because
proposal.
they haven't been up here to ask.
The proposal.
I hadn't got a bit of credit for living up here, huh?
You don't talk to him.
The middle,
Not being up here
the
to help
middleman proposal between Wally and the contacts should strictly be negotiated between them because it's none of our concern. The only concern it is if we choose to buy him out. The only negotiation that the Bowens have with us, the town of Hackleburg, is that building and that property.
And as long as they're there, though, they would be making a payment to us for that, is that
If
right?
it's within that contract, if that's what we.
Yes, so we wouldn't be out the money, they would be making the payment.
But what I was saying, I want us to come up with a tax plan to pay for that if they fold, for the rest of the duration of paying that off. I'm talking about either occupation tax, sales tax, or whatever we've got loose that we could say, well, we can take that and pay that monthly until it's paid off. And if they choose to buy it, I want a long-term lease purchase agreement or a long-term lease, or it guarantees, or we get the building back. I want to guarantee that they're gonna be here.
And that's what
We don't need to be the one, we don't need to be the one taking the risk.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if there's no money to be made, and I've been there 5 years, it's been a total loss, total disaster, why would somebody that's got 4 stores want to come up here and think they can turn it around? Other than they've got buying power. I mean, I'm tickled
They
today.
plan on making money.
Like Dennis said, they turned that one around at Berry,
They've turned every one they've had around.
and
And just the name, I don't bring business in, the name.
I don't know.
Are they gonna leave it under Hackleburg?
I don't know they can be picky. I don't know that. They don't know for sure yet. If
Say
they
something
can,
else
they
you
will
need
be.
to know.
because Tom Williams is
Well, we
trying.
got
Well,
one
you just
back.
hadn't bought it yet. They don't know what they can call it until they, I mean,
Well, they know
there's somebody that can hold them up.
I know whoever
That's why I was saying
owns the
some of that
Piggly Wiggly
back-
brand, you've got to pay 10% or whatever
That
to use that
name's
name.
gonna be hard to get.
'Cause they can use the name, they don't have to pay for it, but there's somebody holding it up.
For mayor, you need some help, you done found out ain't none of them gonna help you.
Well,
My suggestion
Now,
is
he
you
is
run
running
next
me
time.
down too.
Hey, I
I
lived
said
up
you
here
need to
for
run
2
next
years.
time.
I'm going to, son.
Do you
Hey,
live
big
in
boy, I
Hackleburg?
lived up here for 2 years
Do
and
you
I
live in
finally got a
Hackleburg?
job. So it ain't
So
like.
you live in Hackleburg?
Yes, sir.
Do you, where at? What are you?
No, you
address?
didn't.
Huh?
None of you
You
did.
got an address in Hackleburg? Mom?
Well,
Ain't none of your business, boy.
That's it.
Let's
You
stay
want
on
to
the
know, I need to know.
let's stay on the subject of what we're trying to figure
You need
out.
to keep your mouth shut.
Well, you need to keep him out of it. He's a visitor.
Well,
Who's living?
Yes,
You are.
And one.
You're a visitor in here, you ain't got no business butting in our meeting.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
So, anyway, maybe it can be people living, maybe.
No, I won't worry about that. Just put something on paper for us to look at the next meeting. Bring the people to the table that's wanting it and see what they're willing to do, and then we'll see if we can, well, you gotta start somewhere, I don't know. Now, I know, and we may not get this done in 2 weeks, and if he needs to leave by the 15th, we're gonna have to let him go. I mean,
I agree.
we can't try to get something in there by next week. You can't do that. And I mean, I would like to, but when you do that, you're gonna be sticking your neck out then
Well,
to some liability probably that you ain't gonna.
if we
No.
can't get it stayed,
Bills too, too.
we're gonna kill consumer confidence, so I'll put it.
There already is none, obviously, if we're losing 30,000 a month, but anyway.
No, there's some people that, if he didn't have an $11,000 a month payment on the content, if he had the 3,900 that Tabby figured or whatever, he could cash flow. But he don't, and it is what it
And then the
is.
other guy, they ain't gonna have to buy the content, they gonna have to put no money in
That's why
content.
they wanna go 20 years, where they can put the building with it, and they can extend the financing out 20 years and lower that 11,000 to 4,000. You're saving $6,000 every month right off the bat,
Well, I
before you do
understand.
anything.
And that needs to be done.
It's gotta be.
That's not all of the guys, that's just strictly the overhead of that, that's not
Yeah.
counting your salary,
That's right. Your
that's
salaries
not
and
counting,
your
that's not counting
utilities.
everything else.
Utilities, upkeep.
That's not counting having to buy, restock, and inventory.
Right,
That's
but I'm
strictly
telling
pay.
you, what they're coming up short, and you're saving $6,000 right off the bat. Every month.
That's because Wally's pavement is different loan than what this one is. His loan was not 20 years.
It was
That's right.
7 or 10, whatever it was,
His
it was
loan was, that's
11,000.
correct, but that means he's gonna have a higher payment, Darryl. He
Exactly.
borrowed $1.something million. So you
He-
can't compare apples to apples in that situation.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I,
He can't pay the 11,000, and the next one can't pay 11,000. They've got to get the payment down to around 4,000.
but that is strictly up to what they wanna put in the business.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I'm tired of discussing
There's
this.
no
Bring the
arguing.
stuff to the table. The plan.
That's a fact. I mean, that's not an option.
If I go by $1.5 million, $1.2 million, and I decide I wanna pay 7-year payment, my payment's gonna be a lot larger than 20.
You
But
don't
over the
decide
sum of
that.
that loan, over the sum, I've now paid back 2.5 million instead of 1.2.
But what I'm telling you, you don't
You're paying more in
decide,
interest.
you don't decide the 7 year. They're telling you they're only going 7 years.
I understand that, but it goes
Okay.
back to the amount of interest.
If it's 4%, and he had a better interest rate than that,
If I borrow, Darryl, $650,000 for 7 years
Figure
at
it out.
4%,
figure it out.
for 4%, and I borrow $650,000 for 4%
Figure it
for
out.
20 years, how much interest do you think I'm paying back on that
You've
loan?
got an amortization calculator.
How much? Do you think I'm gonna
feel-
pay back more interest?
You figure that out and tell me
Yes.
what your payment is.
I already told you that.
How much is it?
For 20
7
years,
years. Figure it up on 7 years, how much that'd be.
you're cutting down your interest, Darryl. It's common sense.
Don't even put any interest.
You
Just
have
Tell me what
to.
it'll be. I'm just talking in general.
When you go buy a car, you make a decision if you're gonna pay a 4-year or 5-year or 6-year payment.
Telling you the bank,
Because based on what you want your payment to be.
the bank will only go 7
So
years.
he made a choice to go 7 years.
Because he
based on
figured
that
on
bank.
what the Piggly Wiggly was doing.
That's fine, but he
Okay.
made a choice to pay that payment.
He made a choice
So if he
to
wanted
walk
to
in
go
here
in
and
and
help the town.
refinance it, if he wanted to go
He
in and
still could
refinance
not
it,
go over 7 years.
he could go back against that and go more. Yes, you can. You
No,
can
you
refinance.
cannot, Tabby, you cannot. Well, a bank over 7 years on shelving freezers, call any bank and ask.
Daryl, what
I would-
I'm saying
I
is
would
you
be
can
highly shocked if
refinance now. If he's paid
Okay, he's down to
5
800,
years on,
he's down to 800,000.
okay,
Figure up that at 7 years, if he went back and refinanced.
it's $3,000.
No, 7 years, not
It would
20.
be 6,000, whatever it is,
No,
almost half.
no,
How much would it be, Daryl?
you'll bear with me.
But that's his choice, it's not mine.
It's not his choice, Tabby, he can't go over
So what's our
7
goal for the
years.
next meeting?
What I told him.
That's what I'm just sitting here thinking, between now and the next meeting, we need to figure out how we could keep that store open.
Well, we gotta see a plan, that's all I know. It ain't on the table, you can't do nothing with it.
Tonight was a discussion, right?
We're discussing somebody else's finances on what they're making payments on.
We're discussing the
Yeah.
future of Hackleburg.
We're discussing the future of the business.
But back to the
What we're
help, who
discussing.
needs help? I can run a computer, I'm not a genius, I can type about 15 words a minute. But when I'm off, I'll come up here and do anything I need to do to get a story. And if I don't change my mind, I might call the guy over at Goers and say, look, got a nice building and property, you willing to come? You've been in business a long time. You know,
I don't have a problem in the world, it'd tickle me to death.
Call him.
but what do you want me to come over here and help you do? You saying you need some help?
I
You
didn't
can't
say
type.
that, I said Daryl.
Okay,
As
when
a
you,
council,
when you
that's
gonna
what
be
y'all
up
are
here,
supposed to
All right,
assist
Tabby,
Daryl.
that.
when you gonna be up here, Darryl? What you need
He's
help
here
with?
every day.
Every day.
Oh, alright.
Tabby, that's $11,000, 800,000 at 7 years.
Yeah,
4%
I understand
interest.
business. And it's, you lower your payments, years of payment, to get it paid off, you're not paying all the interest. That's the reason you do that. Because if you extend a payment out over a long duration of time, you're paying back more interest on any loan.
I
That's
understand that,
common
but
business.
an $11,000 payment compared to a $4,000 payment.
I understand that, Daryl, I know
That's
every
what
bit
they're
of it.
trying to get to.
No, we're,
Get it down when
get
we
the
make it.
freaking
We're
proposals.
cash flow.
We want business plans, bring them to the table.
I can't help it, you're
We're
wrong on
talking
that, you ain't gotta
in
get mad.
circles.
But, I mean, it is what it is.
This was just a discussion to know what was going on.
That's it. Kevin,
wasn't
you
to have a-
talked a whole lot tonight, what's your,
Plan.
We've come to discuss it and listen and see what we can come up with, and I think at our next meeting, we just need to have what those people can give us, look at it. Cause we can't make any decisions today.
brother, absolutely.
That's what we gotta know, what they can do,
Yeah.
before we can do anything, what their maximum limit.
We call a,
What is their limit?
What that is,
Yeah.
yeah, they come.
if we call a special meeting Monday night,
What is their limit?
Bozeman's can be here. Wally says he'll be here, if he needs to be here, he'll be here.
We'll get
I
you
Y'all
think
can
we
bring
need
it,
to
bring
get
it
them
on
here as
paper.
quickly as possible.
Yes, absolutely,
You know, if our meeting is for 2 more weeks, I think we need to do it next week.
yes, we do, we need to meet Monday night,
No.
and maybe we have to maybe
We
meet
have to
two
meet
Mondays.
2 or 3
but,
nights, I don't care.
You need to call Goers and see if you can get them over here at 9:30. Y'all discuss it, I mean, what I'm saying. And she said something a while ago, I agree with her. I mean, I disagree with a lot of things goes on up here, but anyhow. You buy a brand new pickup, you keep it 10 years, you gonna refinance it. All you gonna do is pay the finance payment, you ain't gonna never get that pickup paid off. All you keep doing is going back adding finances to it.
I understand what you're saying, James, but we're talking about trying to lower a payment, is all we're trying to, they don't wanna go back and refinance.
Until they
If
start
have to,
making money.
They've gotta do it to cash flow.
Well, they'll do what's right toward the Hackleburg citizens, and, fat boy's getting hungry. I hope they'll do what's right toward the Hackleburg citizens, really, because I moved my whole family back here and raised them. After what I went through as a child here, I still like Hackleburg. And, you know, my kids are grown and gone, so I just hope they'll do what's right, because I'm gonna be an old man growing up here, so. 20 years from now, I'm gonna be 72 years old. I just hope you do what's right toward our town. whether it's close it down or keep it, I shop there too. And I agree. I mean, I love that store. But do what's right for the town. That's a pretty big risk, what you're talking about. Is the risk worth it? For one citizen, yes. For me, yes, it's worth it.
It's worth it for.
But, like Eugene said, I could turn on a computer, I could look at things, and I've had some college, but all that paperwork stuff's out of my league.
I wasn't saying that you need to come help me.
So,
But if
y'all do
they
what's right
close-
toward the town, that's,
Well, I think up toward the state.
If it did close the town, like Eugene said a while ago, toll off or something, call some of them car dealers and say they take that building over and sell cars up there, you know? Toll Walter's right down here in Blue Springs.
I can tell you, finance already tried that with their industrial building, they put lots of money in and not
Yeah.
one single person called them back.
And I'm
Not
not,
one.
I'm not downplaying any suggestion, I'm open to any of them. But if you'll remember a while back, Chevrolet closed even the Hamilton dealership and other companies too. It's not really a viable option in Hackleburg.
I think you got a plus if you got somebody on table. You got somebody that's wanting to talk to you. You could have nobody and the guy closed. And that's a pretty good plus. And I kudos to whoever did all the labor into that, you know. That's a plus. But that's what the council's for, to make sure that plus is not gonna become a minus.
Yeah.
So,
And you know, it's my job to get out and try to negotiate and talk to people, and I've tried, I promise. And
Well,
I've
the
tried
Bowen
to bring
brothers
up
is
in
gonna
my-
pick whichever option's gonna make them most money.
The Bozeman's more than likely.
Bozeman's is their name?
yeah.
So, they're gonna pick whichever option makes them the most money and the most equity on it.
You would
So
think.
that's where you've gotta make sure that it does not cost the town money, and it makes it feasible for them to say, this is the best option for both of us. And then it's a win-win.
That's what we wanna do. But to think they're gonna come to the table with $1 million is not gonna happen.
Guarantee you
For
that's
nobody.
gonna happen.
It's just not gonna
And
happen.
they're going-
I'm waiting on that.
If they're like most businesses, they're going to know the ins and outs of this business. They're gonna know what Wally lost. They're gonna have read this contract, be very familiar with what Wally has.
Yep.
They are going to try to cut a better deal. And if we're not prepared to do that, then we just don't
Stand a
even
chance
go there.
to lose
Yep.
the deal.
I mean, because we're gonna have to cut a better deal. It's bottom line.
We're gonna have to work with them.
And I mean that. I guarantee you, I know what I'm talking
Oh, I
about.
know, I know.
And they're not here to lose money.
And we don't want them to.
We don't want,
And we don't
no,
wanna
we
lose
want
money.
them to make money.
If they make money, we make money.
But the bottom line, we cut all the risk we can, but there are going to be risks.
Absolutely.
And we have to accept that fact.
Well,
We need,
Go
you
to-
as the council, that's y'all's decision.
And it's
I'm
what we-
advising you legally, but I'm telling you, that is where they're headed, and they're not coming here for any other reason.
Just cause they like us.
No, I ain't got nothing.
Well,
It's
they got
business.
ties here. You know, Sonny James might come here and lose a little money, but they're not here.
He does, I'm leaving.
Well, I mean, back whenever he had money, Sonny
His
probably
son.
threw some money in.
Yeah, yeah,
But they not from Hackleburg.
that's right.
They probably got other towns.
It's a business
that
venture
have
for
it.
them.
But they're willing. to
There is a
do it.
store that they're,
If they're willing to move here, they're serious.
yes,
And I think that's a big factor the council has to consider.
absolutely. If
If
they're
they're willing
running
to-
it from Dora or Sumiton or wherever. but
Yeah, I'd
they're-
say
they're
that's
gonna
a
move
big
here and be
factor.
part of the community.
I'd say that's a huge factor. Because that lessens your risk. If they're willing to come here,
They're
that
vested.
means that they're serious about it. They're not gonna just come in here and blow us off. That's,
And it's what they do. They're not looking to come in here and let's smoke them and get out. You know, that is their business. It's how they make a living.
you know, if Gerald and Delmo approached us about, hey, can you help us get the Indies building? And they're not, they're retired, but we would know, well, that's what they do for a living, yeah, let's try to help them, you know, and,
Darryl, by the way, I got 13 people over the trailer plant for jobs
that's great.
in one day. And that's through the power of the American Legion on Facebook. Everybody messaged me, and I'm here to help sell the town myself because I want to see it succeed. I think I'd like probably maybe be a council member one day, get involved, but I got a lot more learning to do before I'm going to do that. But as a citizen, I want to step up and help out any way possible. I emailed corporate IGA office about this business, and I don't know where I put it, but they're not in the business of that. An individual has to come to them, they have to bring a plan to them, and like you said, they're not gonna take the risk, so they're saying IGA, it would have to be an individual that's wanting to start a new store, and so I think IGA is completely out.
Well,
Unless you wanted to start a new one yourself. But you guys hold the trump card. You hold a $2.8 million building. So, I mean, that's a heck of a
Either
deal.
way, the town, even if Wally would have upheld his part, he would have got the building. No, it doesn't matter. We could actually turn around and say, hey, we're gonna give you a $2.8 million building. You wanna stay here for 5 years?
Well,
No different.
if he would have stayed,
That's why I said 20.
and he's 72, if he would have stayed and tried to refinance, he would have asked for the deed where he could go
Yeah.
15 or 20 years.
And we would probably look at that and see how much in that contract and say, can you stay this and you sign this contract and stay this additional 5 years? You don't, it comes back to it. You would do that. Because that's what you're wanting to do is say, I'm gonna keep a business here. The town doesn't have the risk. The building would have went to him anyway.
That's, yeah.
So the liability
I
is
know what
not
you're
as
saying,
great.
but he would have
But
took
you're
that
not.
deed and used it for collateral. and
Yeah,
that would have
I mean, that's where you go in and you say, we will flip this deed and give it to you with the exception that you've gotta maintain that for 5 years you're getting it, $2.8 million. That's what you're doing right now, because he would've got the building anyway. That way he has to stay
How,
open.
how could you got the building in town on
No, in the original grant, it was his building if he held up to his end of the contract.
it? What about this, I wanna know about this 1% the school is getting, Carter brought that up a while ago. How much money is the school getting?
They got about $250,000.
They get about 80,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
Real
good.
good.
I mean, we're gonna have to look at other things side just to,
Well, who was it, Tony or one of them said earlier, if we maintain our taxes low, people comes to shop here, if they get the prices down
well, they
competitive,
can shop.
You
where
would,
they can,
That's right.
that will increase because you're selling on volume.
you would think that,
But that's common economics is what you're hoping,
but they're not doing it right now.
but it goes back to the meat market now. Marty's Meat Market in Hamilton, you know, when, what's his name, sold out to David, he actually, most people go over there in Hamilton, buy meat from him instead of going to Walmart, or to the food lane or whatever, because it's a better cut of meat.
Yeah.
Same thing as Hackleburg up here. If, who was the meat market man when Big was,
Jimmy?
no, before Jimmy?
Jimmy's been a meat market guy
There
forever.
forever.
Yeah, there was somebody else.
Yeah.
Gene Thomas helped him and,
Gene Thomas was in there with you. Well, when they were cutting, you got a good cut of meat, people come here.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily that they were saving $2 on a box of cereal, it was because of the meat.
and the gas was cheaper
That's right.
back then.
So,
And Jimmy's cutting the meat still.
That's right.
And he does a good job.
right.
Well, I didn't mean to step on anybody's toes, but the facts had to be out tonight. And it is, like I said, time sensitive. It's not something we can dwell on for a long time. So we do need to put a lot of thought and time, prayers into it. And if you know anybody that you think might be interested,
talk to, you know, the grocery business has changed from what it was 10 years ago. You can order food online. You can call ahead. They'll pull it, pull up to the window, they'll bring it to you.
What's that number? I'm hungry.
Well, we don't wanna do it, but,
They don't do
you know,
it.
maybe they'll start doing it out here. You know, that's an
That's
option
Grubhub.
for them to do.
I mean, I'm not gonna call guys about myself, who I named mad, don't make no difference to me. I ain't like anyway, but they ain't coming to my house to tell me what to do. They ain't gonna tell me what to do in this town, cause I've been here 30 years myself. I've been with the same woman. What goes on in this town is just as much my business as it is anybody else.
Well, I don't think anybody said that, James. I don't think anybody said it wasn't none of your business.
Well,
We're just,
you know, Don saying this and Don saying that. I like Don, but he can make me mad while I'm never like.
You kinda got me mad where we go. You got me mad
I
where we
don't
go.
care.
I didn't care if you got mad at me either.
See, you
don't
don't
care
bother
me a
me.
bit.
People don't bother me. Cause I know how to take care of it.
I do too.
Hey, Darryl, can we go ahead, since this is a work session, we're in the month of July, if it's to be August. And we don't, huh?
Third, the first.
Yeah, we need to start talking about some future projects or anything like that. Because a lot of times we'll wait till the last month and then they even coming up with the Christmas parade, even other stuff, and we need
Budget's
to.
coming up,
That's right, huh?
budget October 31st.
That's right, we've got all that stuff, and we need to go ahead and be discussing some of that too.
So the reason I come up here, I was gonna ask the town, I was gonna talk to the mayor, 'cause that's the one I never was gonna talk to. He's boss at town. And, I wanted to know if we could raise up, like, get something down here, and I'll get the group myself, you ain't gotta worry about that. Get something that we could raise up, to have for the kids down here and have music and stuff. You know, down here, we ain't gotta have it every, neighbor day and stuff like that. It needs to be going on more.
We had our first open pool party this past Saturday night,
I was there Friday
and
night.
it actually turned out pretty good. There was a few little, but overall it was good. Movie night didn't go very well because the movie screwed up,
Yeah.
but it was the first, a lot of good feedback from everybody.
And I
Yeah.
thought that was good.
Had almost, I think John said it was close to in and out 50 people. So that's excellent. When it got time for the younger kids to go home, they, did what they were supposed to. Next year when we get into that, we need a little bit better lighting because there's only one light. So that was an obstacle because we didn't have no lights on the back side. But those are projects that we can do to improve the facility and everything. And those are the things that we need to say, hey, we need to do X, Y, and Z. Because those are areas, and what's the workers that we sometimes get? Make sure I say it correctly. No,
about the Marion County Jail.
yeah, them. We need to get, because if we say that we need to paint the park over there, all that needs to be maintained, you do that in the fall. We don't do it in the hot part, so we're coming up on fall, we're fixing to start toy boat. We're fixing to have all those children over there, cheerleaders, football players at that park, and that playground is in dire need.
The whole parking lot is, really.
Right, well, we've upgraded the parking lot, we've actually sealed it off and made it better, but we need to get some help, and I know we're limited, and so this might be a good time to get those workers. If we can pull them in and say, hey, let's paint this area, let's paint cheap, and make it look better.
Yeah, but see, you hire them people to do it. There's people right here in this town.
No, we don't hire them, they're free.
I mean, you got people right here in this town come
We're
up
working.
here.
No, this is free, you don't have to pay.
Inmate labor.
All you gotta do is
Yeah.
buy them lunch. You
Yeah.
really gotta do that, but, you probably.
I ain't saying not to do it.
They've worked for us before, they actually, Bob the builder's the one that actually built part of that stuff over there, and he's no longer, I think he
But
passed
there's
away.
people in this town would here to help. I mean, if they ain't doing something, they'll come up here and help you and do anything, I ain't scared to do nothing. I'm a man, so I ain't man.
So organize a community cleanup day and paint and put it out there and get all
Yeah.
you people over there to go do it.
Them wants come, them don't stay at home. They ain't got nothing to say about it then.
Yeah. But those are some things that we need to get moving.
I agree.
I did wish we
Cause they actually start practice in 2 weeks.
In the park down there, if we could get some new equipment or something, or just update it a little bit,
Yeah.
would be
Now,
nice.
another thing I want to ask about, this building out here, right next to Huddy's, why can't the fellow rent it and have music and stuff in there?
Which one?
That, basketball court building.
Well, they can.
What did he ask?
What?
You can rent the rec center to play music.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how much is that?
Mandy,
It's $100.
I don't know.
$100.
For what,
Can't
2
even
hours?
use it or anything like that, and have music and stuff.
You can actually rent the community center also for that on the weekend, or the pool building.
Charlotte, if you guys will draft up something that park needs, like a supply list, I could present it to the Home Depot, through the American Legion, and see if they'll supply some of that stuff.
Okay.
I just have to have a list of what's needed, and it's worth trying. Cause they work with us.
I know who was last to paint that food down there, I didn't get a dime out of it,
You boss man did.
so did. And I didn't know it for a year after that, but he got $800 something to do it, and I didn't get a dime out of it.
But anyway, I agree, that's good points, but
I don't care to have paint that food, I don't know how to paint it.
I appreciate y'all coming tonight. Just, I ask that you do think about it hard, keep it on your mind, and, you know, I wasn't expecting a decision tonight from anybody, but we had to get together as a group and try to talk about the options, and so.
Next move, another meeting
Well, he
I'll-
said
I'll get the
with the people.
he's got
people
a
here,
schedule
try to get
done
the
with the paper
proposals together,
off cycle.
and we'll go ahead and schedule a meeting for Monday night.
This coming Monday, see y'all.
Do it at 6:30 again, cause I don't get off till 5, by the time I take a bath. It's 6:15 before I can get up.
Now we get off 6.
That's fine. We can do it at 6:30.
If y'all ever need anything
But I
from
ain't
me,
gonna wait.
a report or anything, y'all can just call me. That's what I'm here for too. If y'all wanna know something or see a contract or whatever I have, it's open.
All right. Anybody else got anything?
You know, it does help to have it, because there's a lot of rumors going around when, about the maintaining a certain amount of employees, none of that's in that contract. That's how stuff gets started, cause it is not nowhere in it.
They don't
So-
have to, they don't have to maintain it, he had to reach a certain amount.
I know, but it's not in this
That
contract.
was just for the grant.
That was that.
That was just to get-
It's not what you said, none of that's in there either.
Yeah.
That loan
Yeah.
money was different than
That's
this,
correct.
and that's what people are saying.
But
Well,
through
can I
the,
ask
through
something
the
else?
They
state.
don't understand that you got separate parts, they're gonna run their mouths out here. Yeah.
How many placements on four?
4,
Four, you got part-time on top of that, don't
When they
Oh.
get 'em.
you? Y'all think 3 placements couldn't take care of their time?
Not in cover 24.
Probably not.
24-hour
We
coverage.
took some major dope off the street in the last month, and I hope I'm gonna try to get us a drug task force in here with another couple of
That's what
months.
y'all need.
I
I'd
forgot to
love to
tell
see
you-
if that dope ain't on the street, my kid can't get on it.
I forgot to
And
tell you.
if I don't care, anybody slanging it, I ain't got no use
Adam,
for it. I want it
You
gone.
mentioned something about the
You ain't getting it
extra
from Dr.
radios.
Morrow, I want it
like
off the
he
street.
did. He had 2 instances, cause he was at the house,
What are y'all talking
the
about?
next gen radio, he
What are
was
you
out
talking
I
on
don't
the phone,
tolerate that.
and he couldn't
What are you
call
talking
back
about,
because it's
though,
screwed up.
Eugene?
Well, they
Just
said
anybody out there
sheriff
slanging.
patrol
You
out
talking about
there.
marijuana, or you talking about?
Anything, if it's not legal, it's
The
dope.
other night.
Marijuana's not dope.
Hackleburg Road.
Yeah.
So-
It's
He
illegal.
said there's something going on with the radio, something with that.
He needs legal stuff.
Yeah, he needs to have some off or something.
It's illegal.
Well, they ain't supposed to bootleg.
All right. I appreciate everybody coming. Appreciate y'all coming.
Y'all blow everyone.
Sorry, Wayne, for keeping you so late.
Past Wayne's bedtime, so.
You'll either,
Need a
I
motion.
was gonna say, you'll either decide to quit, or you just learn how to tolerate it.
Your North Fork breed.
What the heck
The
y'all do?
newspaper man used to, I don't
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/49 County News TV.